Good afternoon and welcome into the SPL. I am Finch, obviously here with y'all. Not dressed up as Velma today. Halloween is in the past. It's November. Time means nothing during the quarantine, and hopefully you all are excited for some SPL matches happening here today. Now, obviously, we are towards the winding down portion of the SPL. These games not necessarily going to impact anyone's outcome going into playoffs or worlds all that much, but I think we should still have some fun here today. Anyway, I'm joined here by Gore to help me try and find a way to make sense of everything that is happening. I don't know if you heard the sad nihilist streak that's in me there, Gore, but I'm going to bury that down deep and get ready for some SPL today.
Yeah, it should be a fun one, right? I mean, you're coming into it, again, when you look at the standings, not a lot can shift anymore. Yesterday, Sanguine got solidified as third place. On Friday, Renegades guaranteed themselves 6. Even if, for some way, right, Renegades, if they lose here and United do win, and technically they were tied in the standings, Renegades have the head-to-head, so no matter what, they are that 6th place team. So realistically, there's not a whole lot to lose. In fact, honestly, if you're 3 of the 4 teams playing today, you maybe want to keep some of those strats in the pocket for the playoffs.
Yeah. United, the only team of those wins that is not making it into the playoffs. We're taking the top 6 only, though everyone will have a chance once we start talking about actual worlds there. This, though, playoff stage, we'll talk a lot more about the format and what it all means as we get closer and closer to it, but obviously the team that comes out of it in the top position gets themselves into that highest position moving towards worlds. So a lot that will matter when we get to playoffs, but we'll talk more about that specifically once we make it there. Right now, though, we can talk about this Renegades and PK matchup, but I think we should talk about Renegades a bit because I was not expecting them, Gore, to end up as that 6 team that was making it to playoffs. I had put my money on United, as you guys saw back on Waiting Room, but I think this Renegades team is worth taking another look at because I think they have a chance to do some damage once they make it to that playoffs team, and in this set here as well, they've kind of continuously proven to us that they're not going away. They're willing to play their own style, and they'll make it work.
They have been this team, it almost feels like they ride or die based on Lasbra, and it's that, I think, is the only way to look at it now at the end of it, right? Before, we were always question marks like, what Jake are we going to be getting today? Very similar to what we thought about Obey with Inbound, right? Which Inbound were we going to get? Both of those support players that we were highlighting as realistically the ones that should have been the most questionable coming into the year, they've both become really solid blocks and pillars for these teams. Jake here specifically, since we're talking about the Renegades, has been someone that is a driving force forward for the Renegades, and I think that that's something you can rely on, him and Barra over there in the duo lane. I think it is the jungle matchup that has always been the question marks around him, so if you get Lasbra on something comfortable, we've seen a lot of the Ratatosker lately, then things are just going to go smooth.
I think you're right to point out, though, that Jake has looked more consistent lately. He's played some more Sobeks or things like that have allowed him, I think, to play more normally. But we've also seen the tier from him, right? So you never know what you're going to get from him. And it's Neo Ma on the other side that I think has to deal with all of that. This is the type of year, though, the time of year when Neo Ma starts to play really, really well, Gore. And I think that we might start to see that from him as well. Right getting into Worlds time, he kicks into that extra gear and helps to elevate his squad.
And exactly what you said there, right? The key note is right around Worlds time. Like, right as you get to the end of the season when you really need to start getting hot and being able to figure out what it is that are making these other teams tick and to tear them apart with that, that's when you need to be able to warm up. And Neil, it's not to say that he had a bad year, realistically. It's just that he's gotten better than he was already. And it seems like now, again, all cylinders are firing for them. And that's the kind of synergy you need, because when you're looking at the supports, you know, there's that conversation, like, how well does Neil mesh with Zap? But that's, what, first 5 levels conversation? Then it's how well does he work with Cuvo? How well does he work with Ball? Late game, how well does he work with Scary? Like, the front line, I think, is very difficult to get running for him. And Neil just slots in so smoothly here with the Knights. Cuvo being the only new addition for this team coming back into this year. It just feels like everything's really solidified here at the end of the phase, and that's exactly what they would want.
It's really all going according to the PK blueprint that they made last year on their path to Worlds. So now you're wondering, are they ready to follow that same blueprint and make it work here again this year? Neil Ma, though, is the one that has to answer those types of questions. We talked to him earlier on for the interview.
Guys, I'm here with Neil, of course, support for the Knights, and they're playing the Renegades today. Neil, this is your last game of the phase. Your placement is already locked in. What's the goal for the team really in a game like this where ultimately no standing shifting is going to happen? What's the goal for you guys?
We just want to come out and have a good performance. I mean, like you said, the standings are kind of all set in stone. A win or a loss doesn't matter, but we always come out and we want to show our best, try our best, and take it seriously. That's not to say maybe we won't be playing. Maybe some picks we haven't played that much.
Sure.
Nothing too new, but at the same time, it's gonna be a fun set, and we're gonna try and come with a dub for sure.
Yeah, so on the back end of that, how important really is it for you guys to, I guess you just said win-loss doesn't really matter all that much standings-wise, but to you guys as a team, is it really important to end the phase on a win, or you just want to have a good, fun, competitive set and end on a high note either way?
Yeah, I think we'd like to end on a high note. I mean, getting a win isn't imperative by any means. Like, we dropped a few games this phase that I think that we kind of felt more sour about more so when the standings mattered more. Losing to Radiance earlier, we really wanted to beat them, and United as well, losing to them after we had a pretty long winning spree wasn't ideal. So I think those losses definitely stung a bit more, and this one's just, if we do end up losing, it won't really matter too much in anyone's minds. Because at this point, we've kind of shown through this phase we can hang with anybody, we can beat every team,
Absolutely.
we have beaten every team. So it's just more about going out there having fun and just being competitive.
Yeah, how's the team mentality? I mean, obviously now we're starting to shift away from SPL Phase 2 mode, and we're working into playoff mindset, placements mindset, World Championship mindset as the team, feeling ready to kind of buckle down and get that final push going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're just a couple weeks out of playoffs right now, so it's coming in fast for sure. And I think just after this set, when we start practice again on Monday, it's going to be kind of nose to the grindstone, like iron everything out, make sure we're playing solid as a team, we're all on the same page, our drafts are strong, we're doing research on the team we're going to be playing. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun going to playoffs. I think every team is kind of is pretty close, to be honest. Like, you look at top 5, us, Sanguine, Radiance, obviously Ghost and Space Station, all very competitive teams. I think it's kind of up in the air to who's going to win, to be honest.
Well, you say iron it out. The Iron Gang, of course, is fantastic at doing that. So you walk up to 18. Final question. You walk up to 18. We're at Hampton Golf Village. I'm obviously your scramble partner. We're down by 1 to Aggro and Snoopy. You want me to hit the driver of the 4? I know, right? We're really up we're up like 5 or 6 strokes. Do you want me to hit the driver or the 4-iron off the tee to seal the deal there on 18?
The driver. You got the absolute brawn. You've got the confidence. I've seen you slang that driver 900 yards maybe. I've seen you hit it like 3 holes further than you should.
Right, but horizontally, not necessarily straight on.
Straight down the middle. You almost took someone's life hitting it onto the next tee box.
You're talking about yourself. All right, we're so far off the rails here on this one. I love it, though. The Iron Gang will ride again here soon enough. Neil, thanks for sitting down with me. Best of luck against the Renegades, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Dave.
And I absolutely love a chance to hear more about Neil outside the game. And look at Dave getting more and more involved with the SPL here. This is his first year, remember, everybody, and he's made himself right at home. We're happy to have you here with us, bud. Now, Gore, you're an old-time SMITE man, certainly not nowhere near as new as Dave. Older than me, I would say, back from some of your old days. So we're happy to have you back here with us as well, my man. And we're going into what, from Neil's perspective, I think still is a match that has some relevancy, right? Because they're worried about making sure they're consistently putting out good performances. So win or lose, they want to know that they're playing their best SMITE here right now.
And I think that's something that you kind of have to balance it with, right? Depending on the the heaviness of the matchup, right? I mean, these two technically are right next to each other, right? If you lose here to the Renegades, maybe there is a little more weight to it. Maybe some people give it some more merit. I think a lot of us are going to say, look, last day of the phase, you've been chilling around. We've gone 14 weeks of play, man. We've been going since July. It is perfectly fine if they decide to maybe play around a little bit, but it doesn't sound like the Knights are willing to give the Renegades that leniency.
Yeah, I don't think Renegades are going to be making it easy for them either, Gore. Let's move into picks and bans here for game number 1. Renegades are in that first pick position, PK in second. And this is such an interesting point here at the end of the year, right? Because do you try to maybe hide what picks you think are actually going to be great for playoffs, or do you try some new stuff out? Do you stick with what you knew before? I think there's a lot for these teams to consider. But right out of the gates, the only thing Renegades are considering is that they do not want to deal with Paul on some of his best gods. They ban away this hell right away in order to try and limit his god pool. PK still about to respond like they want to take away the Amir and this Guan Yu. Guan Yu has been kind of rising lately. I feel like we've seen him come out a little bit over there in solo, maybe even support, getting some bans. How strong do you think that we should be considering this pick as we get ready for playoffs?
Man, I'm actually kind of surprised to see, I think, the shift-ups that's coming through. I mean, Ymir, Guan Yu, both of them, I guess, have had some prowess overall, but they're not necessarily the number ones that come to my mind. Although, I guess, when you're looking at it right now, supports are big. We were talking about Jake being a big factor. I think all of those go towards him. Even the Guan Yu, even though I think it was Nika that kind of pulled that one out first. But you know, Finch, this is what kind of breaks me a little bit. It's the fact that, well, admittedly, we haven't maybe seen the best Yemojas from Jake. Letting Yemoja through still seems iffy at best to me. Like, I'm trying to find a good justification for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost borderline toxic, right? I mean, if you're going to ban 3 picks away from support and none of them is Yemoja, then it's almost like you're saying, hey, can you play the Yemoja pick? But now, considering the Persephone's come through too, maybe we're just letting stuff through at this point. There's been a lot of good bans here. This is not throwaway by any means, because Set, Rom, Sobek, I think, and Hell are all very top-tier picks here at this point. So there's a lot of stuff makes you through if you're going to focus out support in particular. And I think PK now have to show us that if Jake is on Yemoja, that they can deal with it. Otherwise, this top 3 ban phase from them is borderline ludicrous, right? Because they've allowed this really top-tier pick to make it through. Though they do still end up with Persephone and Cupid, right, Gore? I mean, how much can you complain when that's what you got on your side?
Yeah, I think we've seen Paul's Persephone alone win sets, so that's something that you have to be very, very cautious of here, I think, if you're Renegades. But, look, I think Yemoja, whether or not we've seen success with it in the past, I think Inbound is maybe the most recent example of how you can't take maybe the longest, furthest data point and turn it into something overall. I think this is something that could look good, and they get Ratatoskr and Morgan. Like, this is a really good lineup for the Renegades to be able to come through. I mean, if you're going to win, this is a good 3 to start with.
So the best support in the game for Jake, and then 2 signature picks, I would say, for
Sounds
Lasbra and Vin. That's a pretty good recipe. Yeah, I think you're doing the math there with me, Gore, and it looks like it's going to have a good result. And is this tier coming in over here for PK? No way Neil's going to play this. We saw Jake take it over to support the other day. None of those shenanigans. This has to be going over to Scaly, right?
I would love it if Neil picked it, but it definitely does feel like it should be scary. I think Renegades are also going to be in that, like, weird zone of trying to figure out where it's going to go. I mean, we haven't seen anyone other than Jake himself play this tier over there as a support and find a lot of success with it. And so unless Neil is just maybe having a little bit of fun with him, I mean, I'd put a lot of trust into Paul playing Persephone, but I don't know if I put that much trust into just Paul on the Persephone. So it feels like something that could be solo lane. I actually like the way the Renegades adapt to this, though, is just to say, you know what? I don't know where that's going. I'm not going to ban supports from you. You already kind of did us a favor and banned 3 yourselves and gave us Yemoja. We're going to instead target Cuvo. We're going to try to lock down your jungle because we know that's where Lasbra, if he's going to suffer, that's where it's going to be. And if we can control you there, it stops Paul from getting off to a roll. It'll stop the solo lane from getting off to a roll. And it'll keep everything, I think, a little bit more packed down and in favor of the Renegades.
But look at this, though. Cuvo Fred going to the Robin in the jungle. That tells me this is a team with a bit of an eye towards that early, at least from one role, because Robin has that potential to control the way that those first 10, 12, 13 minutes of the game could sometimes go. Osiris coming in on the other side, and with the picks that we're seeing, I'm thinking this is likely going over to the solo lane. And I know Robin's good early, Gore, but do you give him the edge over something like Ratatoskr? I mean, we've seen Lasbra look for those 1 minute, 38-second ganks in almost every game this year.
Yeah, the thing I think I like about Ratatoskr, even more than Ravin, even though Ravin is great at fighting early on, Ratatoskr doesn't have to back, you know, for what, until he finishes an item, essentially. He's going to be able to stay a little bit longer, have a little bit more farm that comes up early on, which I think will favor the Renegades getting things off to a roll. This Scotty, look, Bear's the only one that ran her. He got a win on her in a crucial match for them, so I think this is actually one of those picks that you know, a couple days ago I was hyped to see her. I'm still excited to see her, and I think he's got a good run on it. I think this is a scary Knights lineup, especially now with Kakulin, which I think makes that a tier support. Yeah, Renegades just feel like they've gone for a lineup that fits them like a glove.
I like this, man. I mean, the thing is, Gore, it doesn't matter if it's tier or Kakulin support because one of those is going support, right? So it's going to be weird either way. But if it is indeed that tier support, then I like the idea of PK trying to run it into Jake and maybe giving him a little bit of a taste of his own medicine. But I might be concerned that maybe Jake knows the ticks of this pick, right? The things that you wouldn't like to have happen to you if you're on a tier support. So that means PK got to make sure if they're taking it to the master that they have studied the blade well.
Yeah, this is just going to be fun, right? I'm excited to see what this is going to be. I think this duo lane should be a bloodbath, and I'm kind of living for it. Like, I want to see how many kills are going to rack it up. At this point, just go ahead and play Arena on the Conquest map. I don't care about anything else. Objectives, who needs them?
Yeah, Tier Cupid up against Scotty Yamoja. Not a bad way for that duo lane, I think, to potentially give us some kills over on that left side of the map. We shall find out. And what a pairing it'll be for our very first game. Hindu Man and Aggro to take us into Game 1.
Is it just Aggro? Is Hindu Man here? Hello? Hindu Man. All right.
Oh, I am here. I am here. Ignore me.
Man,
I've been talking
close.
for 5 whole minutes. It was the best troll ever. It was intentional. Hi, everybody. I'm Hindu Man. And joining me is Aggro, and we're going to have a bloodbath at level 1, and it's Cupid heading back to base early. Zatman looking at the ghost screen yet again. His regular season continues.
Listen, man, I mean, I think it's a little messed up here, Hindu, how every single person on Renegades seem to have gotten to pick something that they probably like to play. You know, Variety probably wishes he could play Osiris all year.
No, disagree.
Lasbra on his signature pick. No, you don't think Harry likes the Osiris?
Jake does not like playing Yamoja. Jake can't press W.
That's what I'm saying.
On Yamoja. There's no way.
You didn't let me finish there, Hindu Man. I was going to say, it's messed up that Jake didn't get a chance to be in that same boat. You know, he would have loved to be playing Tyr or Fafnir or Osiris himself, but instead he's given this Yamoja, but clearly he's been working on it a little bit. That first blood, not many characters, I think, secure that.
That's true. I mean, the good news is, though, right, if you're going to go against Tyr in lane as support, if you play it yourself, you should know how to handle it, right? So, in theory, Jake should be ahead in this matchup against Neil, I want to say, in this 1v1. In the support.
Agreed. I think he kind of has to. I mean, Tyr support is not something that most supports are going to be comfortable with, let alone comfortable against. I imagine that Jake has inspired many a ranked support to attempts to run it down at the same level.
Well, at the moment, it looks like Jake's turning on the Jets, and Neil Mar does not like it. That's for sure. Meanwhile, Scary D having a bit of a problem too. Variety trying to run him down, but body blocked out by Cuvo Fred, who may just be dead. Lasbra gets the kill, but Scary D back in, looking towards Lasbra, but Lasbra will get away. Variety, a different story. We're tied up at 1-1. Cancel that, it's 2-2, as Neil takes down Scardy. Oh my, I thought Scardy was a 100% win ratio, Ryan. She might not be anymore.
No, a bit unlucky there, I suppose. The Tyr pretty good at displacing someone like a Scotty, and Barracuda's beads not good enough to save his life. So 2-2 already across the map. This is the pace I would expect.
Yeah, me too.
Not just in this set, but today overall.
This is the end of Season 8 regular season. Season 8! We've had
Season
8 regular seasons.
No, Hindu Man, you're having a senior moment here. It's Season 7, buddy. You got it.
No, that don't count, because we had pre-season 2 of, like, Season 1, right? Like, there was no Season 1 technically, but there was.
So you're telling me, Hindu, that all of our branding for this year is wrong, and we're just figuring that out.
We work at hi-rez! Like, of course that's the case. Like, what are you talking about? Listen, it's going to be a bit of a fun day because the points don't matter and Barracuda's KDA might. But meanwhile, Jake's going to take out Zapman. Oh my god, why has Jake not been playing Yamoja all year? Look at him go! He's an unstoppable force right now. These jets of his, by the way, these jets, wherever they came from, I want to buy some.
Yeah, look, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can turn on the jets. You can flip the switch. That's another big one that you can do. I don't know if we flipped. I think the jets are engaged, but it looks to me like the switch is still about halfway up. Jake is working on flipping that switch. That's something I'm going to be looking out for here today, Hindu Man, is if he can complete the switch flip here against PK.
Well, we'll find out if that happens. 3-2, though, early on. A lot of action as Cuvo Fred paying a bit more attention to the right-hand side again against Variety. And now we're just going to wait for the next moment of action for the most part as I look down the builds. I mean, this Warrior's Blessing, is this now core on most majors in mid? We're seeing so much more of it now. Or is it just specific ones?
It's mostly specific ones, and it's ones that will rush boots like Paul has done. I mean, when you rush the full boots, getting Mage's Blessing, it's just really slow to stack. you are already clearing pretty well because you have so much power that you don't really need the extra help in that department. And Warrior's Blessing is just the best blessing for its outright stats. You just get really good stats quickly from it, and it evolves more quickly than every other blessing in the game.
Well,
so
it does
with
if
all
you do
those
damage.
factors combined. Yeah,
Right?
I mean, you got to do damage, but
So the mids that don't do very well, that's true, I mean, Paul will, but maybe some of the others, that's why we don't see it, right? Like, they just can't hit abilities or even land them.
Yeah, it can be that. It can be that you kind of want it on more poke-oriented characters, but I think the main thing for Warrior's Blessing is just having the ability to stack it fairly quickly, but mostly be able to pay off on the boots rush. If your character doesn't really do that well rushing full boots, you know, you really need more MP5 on a character like Ra or Poseidon. You know, those gods really aren't going to benefit from this sort of start nearly as much as someone like Persephone, who can get so much early pressure guaranteed.
Nice little riptide out from Jake there, who is level 5 alongside Barracuda on this Skadi yet again. I think we need to start doing that, Ryan, where we just pick gods and say they've just got they've never been played, and people just pick them. That's what I've noticed now.
Yeah, we could do that. Maybe Ven decides that he uses the ult here, which he will. Don't think we need to see that much Skadi, though, to be honest with you, Hindu.
Go in. You won't. Oh, you won't. Meanwhile, Lasma was doing the same thing on the left-hand side. I think they were thinking about a double dunk and changed their mind. Red buff going to get stolen away. As Venenu was focused on wave clear, just want to be clear there, he didn't even clear the wave as well with that Ratatoska rule, which is a bit unfortunate because now he misses a bit more form to his tower. But on the left-hand side, Renegades do make good use of that red buff and purple buff invade. But it looks like he's going to come at the cost of Lasma's life as Zapman gets himself on the board to make himself 1-2-1.
Look, there are a lot of players who are known for being able to run it down in ranked with the best of them. Jake, obviously, at the very top of that list. Zapman, known for it. A guy who goes under the radar here, Hindu Man, is Venenu. Ven has capabilities to run it down unlike most, so I'm looking forward to that.
Oh my goodness me, look at those support mechanics from Neil Moore, but cancel that, the Jets were online, and the switch was flicked, but it's a 1-for-1 so far, as now we can see Cubo Fred looking for awesome Jake in the jungle. Riptide is available, will jump through, but Neil Moore with the blink ignores it. Fantastic little fearless, but it's not going to be enough for the kill yet, as a stun from Jake will keep him alive, but the fist of Cubo Fred should be enough to secure the kill.
Yeah, Fred not messing around here so far. He's picking Robin, he's ganking Duo, he's all over the place.
He's been here since the dawn of time. He's played these long EU games at the end of the season. He just wants out already. He's like, listen, guys, this one don't matter too much. Let's just get through it, shall we?
Look, I've played in games like this before, and they're kind of fun. You know, like you know that everyone's gonna be laughing about how the game is going. You know they're getting streamed and all that kind of stuff, and you just want to try and make as many like flashy plays as possible. If your teammate is inting, you don't want to help them because then they get made fun of for being really bad, and that's really funny. So
is that when you go on Twitter when that happens? Do you just go on Twitter then and complain about like the chat's being mean, or the casters are mean, or the game's not balanced, or this god's broken, or like I'm just trying to think of the list of things that you're supposed to say in those situations, you know? It's not like
you go, GG, nothing I could have done, I played perfectly, like Zapman right here, I mean, he's playing this perfectly, nothing he could have done from that.
Jungle diff.
Where's his team, you know? Yeah, exactly, like support diff, jungle diff, like Zap knows what's up, he's well-versed.
We don't blame supports, we just blame junglers, that's the rules here. In this
Hindu Man, you might have missed this. We've decided that supports are actually number 2, only behind junglers. So lots of games are support diff these days, actually.
Who's we? Who's we? Who's we?
You know, us. All of us.
Them?
No, us.
Oh,
no,
okay.
us.
Fearless.
Oh my God,
nice
Neil.
Little combo. Oh, Neil, where have you got this god from? He's really been studying the 408 a little bit, but it looks like Jake is turning around at least to make sure it's going to be a 1-for-1 or maybe a 2-for-1. Cubo Fred just doesn't like the duo lane, it seems. He's really got a bit of an issue with Jake and with Barracuda today. And at the moment, it looks like they're both going to be in spawn for another 10 seconds because, well, it's pre-level 10 for the most part, not even 10 minutes in the game. So respawns are pretty quick here.
Yeah, you're coming back pretty fast. I mean, look, Neil is doing all he can, Hindu Man. Have you ever had this situation where you're the same level as your ADC, they're feeding 1 and 4, and it's like, guys, what am I supposed to do here? You don't want to take his farm. but you kind of do want to take his farm because you're doing more with it right now.
It's a bit of a tricky task as a support because most of the time what you have to do is just go, well, this guy's useless. A ward would be better if it could just sit under the tower and let me farm up. That's probably the best thing that could happen. As a support, you're kind of finding one person in your team that's good, and most of the time you don't find that. Look at Neil right now. He's trying to put this team on his back. Luckily enough, he's actually got a jungler in this game.
It's one of those, like, you're hanging out with a group of friends, but you really want to hang out with, like, one person in that group more than everyone else. And Neil's like, hey, Fred, like, what do you want to do? You know, like, oh, the group is talking about invading purple, but, like, Fred, what are you thinking about? You know what I mean? Like, maybe we just do something different. And I think that's kind of the vibe here. Yeah, exactly. Let's go to their speed. That sounds fun.
Yeah, they've really limited that this year. I'm kind of disappointed we don't see any more level 1 speed invades, but Lasby getting aggressive here, and Paul will die this time round, but in that passive, can he get any damage out? At the moment, struggling to do so, doesn't have his ultimate available as the Riptide comes through from Jake, but there's a Fields of Love that causes, well, no real issues for the most part, as Jake had his beads available. Ven is still alive on the backside, hiding around a Morrigan as Lasby goes in and spins to win, but Zap ends up falling down to Lasby, as does Neil, and Cubo Fred again is just still murdering kids, and he takes another life, a double kill for him. Man, this is a PK squad that won Worlds. Cubo Fred is carrying them.
He's popping off, and Scary D's made the rotation, but he's on a ward, so both Venenu and Jake know that they can't really chase Fred. This is exactly what you want to be doing in games like this, Hindu. You want your team to be hard-inting. You want to be able to be like, guys, what are we doing here? Can we please stop trolling, even though you're obviously trolling as well? That adds to the whole thing. Fred's popping off, man. 6-1. He's probably pretty close to that Erendite, honestly, and as soon as he gets that, then Venenu is cutting a toast, because that stealth's not going to do him a whole lot of good.
It's a good point. When you bring up that you guys are trolling bit, I feel like the person that dies first that says you guys are trolling immediately gets, like, you know, free reign to deal with the issues he's had on. You know what I mean? Like, he pretends that he hasn't trolled at all. He's been forced into this situation. I feel like Jake kind of started the year like that, in my opinion. And since then, he's really improved.
I think it's been working out for him pretty well as Paul just styled on Ven. Variety's going to come be the fun police in mid, but at least Paul did enough to set up another kill as well.
Man, and Osiris getting kills. I'm not used to seeing this. Oh no, I spoke too soon. The casting curse came through. He does get it just at the end though, and Variety will end up picking up Paul. Now the attention towards Neil, who gets Riptide back towards Jake again. Damage is good, but the Lawbringer keeps him alive. Same cannot be said for Cupid, who dies for his 6th time. This is a dangerous moment in the game. The 6th death of Zapman pre-15 minutes is a big issue here, Ryan, because we've all seen his streams. We all know what happens in those situations.
The Zap passive is going to activate soon. Look at him, down to the cam right there. He knows. That's a man who's gone 1-6 and won 1,000 ranked games before. There's no fear in that man's face.
The old classic. I mean, he's just missing a couple of subs to go. You can do it, Zap. Turn it around. Meanwhile, Barracuda, once again, realizing that stepping up towards a Robin is not a fun place to be. Lasbra has hit level 10, 2 levels down on Cubo Fred so far, even though he's been involved in pretty large amounts of action.
Graham, you've known Zap for a while. Sadly, how likely? How likely do you think it is that he's gone, wow, I just Zapulated that guy in the middle of an SPL game? You think that's happened before?
I think it probably has, but his teammates, it probably happens a lot, I want to say, in his games, and the team's just got to deal with it or they mute him. I mean, do you even need your AD carry to speak, really? Let's look at the teams, right? Like, Panda doesn't really speak much. Vote can't be understood for the most part. Like, AD carries don't need anything. You know what I mean? Like, all they got to do is press auto attack. It's not a hard thing to do. So they just mute Zap, and now he's going to get soloed by Emoji.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be in trouble here. Oh my God, Jake is slit.
Oh,
Lasbra, what is that, dude?
Look at Laz. No, nothing on his face. No emotion on his face at all. He's like, gotta kill. That's the important thing. But Neil's here now to make sure he gets punished.
Good.
Paul will steal that kill, and a huge Grasper's death towards the Scotty has put Paul in a bad spot. The ice isn't good enough. Cubo Fred's gonna wait for the window. He don't care about Neil dying. Neil, though, still gonna get chased down by Venenu, who's trying to do his best Cubo impression.
Dude, this Caldier is hunting Neil Ma right now. Finally, Barracuda calls him off, but that was, I thought that Caldier was gonna be going to the ends. I mean, Jake,
by the way.
Go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, people saying in chat that I'm talking about being BM to Scottish people. I understand, though. Don't start that. It's the rest of you that don't understand accents.
It's true. When I did the player one-on-one, you know who had to sit there and do the subtitles afterwards? It was Hinderman. He was the old. We had to call in the guard.
It was really funny to just listen to that interview and go, why can't you guys not understand any of this? It makes perfect sense to me.
Okay, I got most of it, I felt. I felt like I
didn't say that.
Well,
if you guys in chat haven't seen it, go check out the vote interview that Aggro did and look at Aggro's expressions as he nods politely as he realizes, you said you were going to troll me today. That's not going to happen, mate. It's the other way around. You lose. Don't play these games.
Okay, man. Listen, I felt like I was doing a pretty good job overall. Did I understand every word? No, of course I didn't. But I got at least like 65 to 75%. And I felt like that was enough.
That's fair. Oh, Hayes is in chat, by the way, saying I got some of the subtitles wrong. I didn't. Arvi made me correct them to be better English grammar is the issue, instead of just being the way
Is that true? Are you actually throwing Auburn under the bus right here? That's messed up, man.
Well, she wouldn't come cast. I was trying to get her to cast this game, and she said no. I'm trying to get her for game 2.
Oh. Well, wait. Maybe I hit up like Isaiah for game 2?
Well, 14 minutes in. 14 kills for Renegades, 14 kills for PK, but only 1 gold Fury, and Renegades get it. As PK, well, I guess Zap didn't want to get his 8th death there, so didn't step up.
Oh, it's coming, don't worry. It's just the time isn't quite right for the 8th death. Maybe right now as he tries to solo invade the purple. Yeah, I think it's right now, Grim. I think he's decided now's the time.
Oh, Cubo Fred. So Veneno, I said, missed the ultimate there with Cubo Fred's ultimate, but does get in range for the Fist of Fury. Grasp of Death comes through to hit Barracuda, but no one's hitting him at all, so he'll be fine. Different story for Neil Morris. Veneno gets himself a double kill. Jake's going to get the kill onto Paul as Lazarus scoops the net and gets away. But anyway, different story is Jake now on a double kill. A killing spree for the 408 with the Lotus Crown Yamoja. Why have we not seen this all year from him, eh? He's clearly designed to do it.
He's popping off on this pick, no doubt. And this is where Zapman can actually inflict maximum mental damage on the rest of PK, where he goes, all right, guys, let's stop trolling. Like, they're starting to win now, let's stop trolling. And when we just watched Zap go in 1v4 on the purple all by himself, but it's his responsibility now to be the one to tell everybody else to stop trolling so that PK can start to come back in this one. Because Renegades are starting to pull away, man. They're up like 4K. Right now, they've got some good advantages in this duo side. I mean, 3 levels for both Jake and Barra. I think PK is going to have to start picking it up a little bit here if they want to make a comeback.
So we could keep Scardy at 100% win ratio today. Wow.
Looking pretty good. And look, if there's one guy to do it, it's Barracuda. This guy is... I'm going to go with the nice term here. He enjoys playing Scotty. Yeah, he enjoys playing Scotty, and all of us are really okay with that. None of us think that him really liking to play Scotty is weird at all. So no one think that. It's a cool character to really, really love all the time as a pro player. That and Jing Wei. Like, no one judges Barra for liking Scotty and Jing Wei at all, so don't ask me about it.
That's true. I mean, I can definitely see the Jing Wei in him for sure. You know, I don't get why he likes Scotty so much. I guess it's because he can guarantee some damage with Caldeir, is the main reason.
Yeah, it's free damage with Caldeir. Barra loves to do that like little Barra giggle whenever he like gets away with something that he shouldn't. And Scotty's really good at that's a Barra giggle character for sure.
Barra giggle. Well, there's plants in the jungle round there just to see what's going to happen with them. Not much for the most part. Veneno's ultimate is up, and it looks like Renegades are on the hunt again for another kill pre-20 minutes in. They want that next kill onto Zap. They need number 9. But they're not in range just yet. Instead, they're going to work towards this tier 2 as Lasbra and Veneno push down mid to pressure Paul and open up a window now for Lasbra to gank this left-hand side.
Big Sunder coming from Neil, but here comes Lasbra. Would you believe he's in the duo lane? This never happens.
I can't believe it, but guess what? Cubo Fred's going to be on the rotation soon, and that's what I'm waiting for to see if he can make an impact. But no, they've isolated Cubo in mid, and a rotation out of Variety should be able to pick up Cubo Fred. Meanwhile, Barracuda's still going to fall down on this other side of the map, as now Zapman's looking to get kill number 2 on the board for himself. If only he can get to Jake in time. Lasbra, though, will take out Neil, as the Renegades army marches on, but the blink from Scary D was beautiful! He nearly hit the purple buff!
Almost. I mean, you got to give him credit for trying to do something that mechanically difficult and nearly pulling it off. You miss every shot you don't take. And Scary certainly took one there. A little bit unlucky that it ended up not going PK's way. As another fight goes towards the Renegades, and it's all centered around Jake, man. Look, Neil's popping off in this game. I don't want any Neil slander on the timeline. But this one's looking like Jake diff to me.
I'm just looking at his build too. Yeah, not bad build from Neil. I think he could have done with a bit more cooldown this game. You know, you want to spam those fearlesses a little bit more often. Those power cleaves too. Like, it's pretty impactful. But if you're not going to go cooldown, you're going to have a bit of a rough time.
Pridwin, like 20% CDR. That's
his lowbringers have been pretty good. Yeah, that's a good point. His lowbringers have been pretty good so far. I think he could have gone for a bit more damage, though, for the most part of this game. You know? I just think he's
well, it's just
a little bit
I mean, Hindu Man, when you're planning on going Staff of Mirrodin Geb, and then your ADC starts running it down, you just can't at that point, right? Like, you're like, all right, I guess I go Thebes instead of Mirrodin here. That's just like a little... Dude, do you remember when Dave built first item Mirrodin on Geb in a playtest at the beginning of the season? That was so funny. That was so funny. I do remember that.
Yeah, Dave was still learning the game back then. I mean, he still is, but he's done a pretty good job of it for the most part. I think I'm more offended by Dave yesterday doing that whole Scooby-Doo bit that you all did.
Uh-huh.
Why did we just let him play Fred? Like, he didn't have to do anything. That's so lazy.
Wait, first of all, you say the Scooby-Doo bit that we all did as if you showed up, that's what you were going to wear anyways, right? That Plague Doctor mask, like...
Yeah, we don't do Halloween in the UK that much. It's not that important.
Is it not?
No, not really.
What's a holiday in the UK that we don't really do here?
A bank holiday. I'll just say that. There you go.
A bank holiday?
Yeah, bank holidays. Bank holiday Mondays are the best bank holidays, and the UK knows it.
I don't even know what that means.
No, I know. You said you were going to troll me. I'm not trolling you. I'm just telling you the truth, but this is what you get. Half term as well.
A little help.
Ginger Archer in chat. Half term. That's a good one. Yeah, half term's good. Do you know that half term?
No, I don't. I know Lasbra's tearing up Renegades, though, if you want to look at that instead of chat for a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I was a bit confused because there's so many kills on the board. I didn't know which one was the most important. Scary D looking to hit an ultimate on someone. Blink is still available if he needs it. Paul going to get run back by Variety and the Thorns of Doom that everybody hates.
Wow.
But for the most part, Thorns doesn't really do too much, and he's still alive as Variety's having a hard time hitting those basic attacks. Instead, he'll tech the tower for half an hour and get the tier 2, and Paul will make the rat disappear like a magic trick.
What in... Okay, I was just going to do a bit where I was like, man, mages are so OP. Look at all the work Paul is doing underneath this tier 2, just running for his life. And then he goes around the corner and one-shots Lasbra like that, and now it looks like mages are OP. That's no... Come on, man. We were supposed to be together on this, Paul.
Gold Fury again goes the way of Renegades. That's 2 in the coffers for them as we're at 40 kills. So far, I don't even know what the record is, you know. I didn't really think about this coming in today, but I should have done some prep on like what the record of kills in a game is in the SPL before we start with the SEC and the SCL and that sort of stuff.
Oh man, some of those SEC games, bro. No way SPL is higher than some SEC games that we've seen. But
at least this year, yeah, sure.
It's got to be like, we got to do it like kills per minute, right? That's got to be...
KPI,
well, then,
I like it.
Then the Envy set would... Without that set, that's the one that we've got to kind of remove, but... You know what I mean, like, it's like a really infamous set, like you were working it, you definitely know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. They got paid to do that, dude. I'm so sad. Well, they got
fined they lost money.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, they took a fine. They didn't get paid.
They were getting paid to do it, did it, and then got fined. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they lost money, for sure.
40 kills, though, so far, and Renegades on the assault. I've noticed a big change in Renegades' playstyle, though, and I think it really does come down to that Mohawk that Barracuda got. Have you noticed that the level of play has increased from Renegades now that Barra got his haircut that way?
They're undefeated. That'd be a good, like, poll. Like, who got the biggest buff this year? You know, it's gods like... Rom and Ra got really big buffs this year, and then it's like Barracuda's hair. Like, what really made the biggest difference in the SPL?
See,
if they go on to win playoffs, I feel like he can never have not a Mohawk again. Like, I think he's got to stick with it.
reinvent themselves. I believe Derpy did it for him as well, right? Did Derpy do that?
Yeah,
It looks really good. Venedig, meanwhile, he already had that hairstyle for a minute, but now he's starting to realize the power that comes with it. Scary eats the Riptide again off that blink. He's having a great time with those blinks today. Fields of Love did go down from Zapman to the backline, but did no damage again because he's 1 in 10 and can't go deep at all. Instead, he's going to box out varieties. We're watching the foreground. Cubo Fred dies to the Nenu. Barracuda dancing around. That Scary Kakulin that's having a hard day at the office as he now goes 2-0. No assist for Scary. It's either he gets the kill or he does nothing. That's what I'm seeing this game.
His kill or his way or the highway, basically, here.
Yeah.
It's been the highway for him recently. Almost everybody dies. Neil, again, the poor support, the only one left alive. Can Renegades just end? They don't have a lot of mana, but they've got Yamoja sustain. I think that's game.
Well, we'll focus on the game for a second because Berserk in chat turned around and said, do you remember when casters used to talk about the game? This wasn't a game. It was a hell of a set, though, and it's only game 1. We're going to game 2 relatively quick as Renegades, with a crazy set between the two, is going to come back and win this one pretty quick.
Yeah, it looks like that'll be game 1. Look, I don't remember when casters talked about the game, so if I could actually, if you could help me out and send me the last time that happened, that would be very helpful because I'm very clearly lost and confused as to what my job is supposed to be at this moment. Thank you.
Obviously, everyone in the league is having a bit of fun today because this is the end of the regular season of Season 7. For the most part, these games don't really matter. It's just the finalization of the league, and we've gone through 7 SPL seasons now. I can't believe it's coming to a conclusion, and then we're off to the playoffs in 2 weeks' time. But for now, I thought it was a cat behind you for a second that appeared. You just made Mac magically appear behind you. It was amazing.
She's arfing at me. Was it? No, Mac, it isn't even dinner time. What are you arfing about? All right, I gotta go take care of this. Do you got a desk or something we could throw this to?
No, we'll go over break. After this,
all right,
see you soon. Peace.
Welcome back to the SPL. We are having some fun today. Renegades able to find the win in this very first game here up against PK. And Gore, I think the way that they were able to do this was by kind of taking this game to their home turf. We got some ARAM today. We got some Assault on Conquest today. We got Jake soloing Zapman 100-0 on Yamoja today. This was they were just throwing hands basically for the entirety of this game.
Well, I just noticed something, because, normally we don't get tagged at all. We have, Discord running things behind the scenes. Every now and then we'll get an @ I just saw one from Zayden, and for anyone who doesn't know, he runs literally all of the stats. Anything that I don't get from my spreadsheet is something Zayden has then set up, and there's a kills per minute that he was able to pull, and so we've got things where it's like Soar up against Paradigm, there's Hungry for More there, like a lot of teams have fought a lot. This game, I guess, competing with that one, I'm sure that's something that Aggro had wanted to see maybe more in depth. I mean, what, 40 kills plus that kind of came through in this one? I mean, look, let's talk about it. The biggest thing that happened is that Zapman's passive didn't truly activate. He's 1-11. That's supposed to be a win. He's supposed to be not only further ahead in experience, like they're supposed to be running down the Titan, and it's interesting that I guess he just didn't get to that point.
No, he did not make it there today, did he? And unfortunately not able to recover 1-11 this time. You saw that clip earlier where the Emoji was able to lock him down with the ult, get the 100-0, and listen, you could tell that the Knights are a little bit okay with the way this game went, right? Because if you ban 3 supports and none of them are Emoji, then I think you are kind of setting yourself up for this, right? And the Knights are too smart of a team to accidentally let Emoji happen to them. So I think they just were okay with this, right? They were not 100% locked into that one, I think would be fair to say. And I think we're up for a little bit more of that, Gore. This is one of my favorite expressions. This is 2 boxers in the ring who have given up on defense. They are trading headshots here at this point and just seeing who can take it longer. This is, for my Yu Yu Hakusho fans, a knife-edge death match. We are no longer blocking, fellas. This is just punching.
Just got to get in there. And honestly, there is, that merit. Like, the best defense is a good offense, right? If your offense is slaughtering the entire enemy team, they're not going to be able to do anything to your side of the map. Your Titans are safe. Well, I guess in that case, the Renegades know that all of the Knights are gone. So, hey, maybe they can keep that one going. Hey, plus, look at it this way. Look, Scotty, unpicked all year. Final week of the SPL, she comes through. She has a 100% win rate. I think this is saying something, Finch. I think that Barracuda is revealing that truly you need to get haircuts in order to have true power, and that's where a lot of things have failed here in 2020.
And I think it's worth acknowledging, as like a bit of credit towards Renegades, I think that's just a good draft for them, by the way. Like, and all things considered, in even a more normal set, right? This Osiris of Variety, Lasbra on Ratatosker, which I think has been, by the eye test, his best pick, maybe alongside that Pele, Morgan for Ven, and then Barra has found this new Scotty pick for him, and obviously the Emoji for literally anybody should be their best support pick here right now. I think that Renegades, all things aside, should be looking at the core of this roster, of this draft that they had in Game 1, as something that I think could, going forward, just be a good draft for them to always fall back on if they're in a game and they know they need to be able to play at their best.
Now the thing, and I want to take the draft as seriously as possible. And honestly, when you grab Paul Persephone, I think the Knights are taking it. Maybe not as seriously as possible. Definitely, I think they're feeling themselves. You ban the Ratatosker, the Morgan, like you had said, and kind of come into this, taking away the strengths the Renegades had in that last game. The Yamoja being stripped away by Renegades this time, and they're not going to be able to scoop it up. Means they have to go to maybe some of their side picks. But I'm going to be honest with you, Finch. I have like $5 with Katie about whether or not Apwash is going to get locked in this set, because my mindset coming into it was Friday, we see Venenu, he's liking a lot of the tweets mentioning specifically him playing Apwash, and I'm just like, man, I know he's going to go into this set, and like it's going to be sitting on his mind. It's just how much he can convince the rest of the team to let him lock it in. And I figured last set for him of the phase that we'd get to see it, but Guan Yu and Ram, look, I'm just saying that's not Apwash, and it is making me a little sad inside.
But it's not a mid laner either, Gore, so the slot's still open, perhaps, for it to come up down to the line. Look at this ban phase, though. PK essentially banning the entire draft from Renegades last game. Take away the Morgan and the Rat and daring them to do it with something else. And then Renegades doing what you should almost always have to do from the second pick position, which is ban the Emoji. And they went ahead and banned the Emoji. You love to see that. Now, PK have gone to a little bit of an odd one here with this Apollo coming through, but we've seen him a lot more these last couple of weeks, so the Apollo still in there alongside the Achilles and the Persephone. I wonder if this Achilles could end up somewhere else on the map besides in the hands of Scary D, once known as Bel Air. Maybe even in the jungle, Gore.
Maybe. I think there's a lot of fun that can come through. And the two things right now that are coming to my mind. First off, well, three things. First off, Apollo. If you're 1-11, he can still split push. So Zapman passive coming into full effect. Doesn't matter how the lane goes. You can be part of the fight and part of the lane that comes through. I saw Avrin say that she was going to have a rage fit, I guess. I can't remember the exact phrase if Opwash isn't locked in there. So she definitely wants that. But also, Ymir Rom, I don't know, like, when I'm looking at this, like, Apollo, Zapman, 100% win rate, Barracuda, 100% win rate on this pick. I think Barra now trying to change that. But Ymir Rom is actually really solid lineup for the Renegades. I think they want to make this a 2-0. But it honestly feels like the Knights are trying to control it. You look at the Ratatoskers, Tsukiyomi, Pele, they really are corralling Lasbra into, a few left picks that he can maybe make a big difference on.
They are trying to limit Lasbra. I think that's a good area to go when you're trying to go up against Renegades. Lasbra has been, I think, their most volatile player up and down. And if you can get him trending a little bit more down, you're in a good spot. Now, Odin comes in here for PK. Obviously, great into this Poseidon, Amir, even Rom. None of those people with any way to get out of that cage easily. And hey, if this is a Poseidon jungle, even decentivizes the Opwash pick from coming through. Gore, I'm doing everything I can to keep that Opwash energy in the universe here right now, and maybe they're going to pair this Poseidon jungle with an Opwash a bit. We can only hope.
Well, see, here's the strat. Realistically, the Renegades were like, man, we won that one, but can we do it again? Let's see. Maybe we'll save that one for Game 3, right? They're just pocketing it and hoping to go that far. Although, I would argue, like, Serket, Poseidon, maybe the two that are the most quote-unquote outlandish here for the Renegades. I mean, and that's not even saying that much, right? Poseidon has had a pretty decent success rate so far here in Phase 2 and mid. A lot of good Krakens that can come through. Good setup from the Ymir and the Guan Yu. Serket, it depends on the day Lasbra's having. If it's just like Game 1, then it's going to have a good time. But Nemesis, Odin, it feels like it's going to be pretty easy to control. You catch Serket without that leap. Poseidon can't get out. Rom can't get out. Those cages, they're going to be pretty deadly from the Knights.
I wonder which one of these is more likely to end up in support. I guess Odin, you want the cage involved in your fight as much as possible between those two picks, I'm thinking. And I love Serket for some player like Lasbra, right? Someone who's really good early on, pre-level 5. So maybe that's going to be the idea for this Serket Cobra's Kiss. Such a good ability, even at level 2. We'll see what the idea is here, though. PK and Renegades, game number 2 here in the final day of the SPL.
That's right, Finch. And on the call is going to be myself, Induman, joined by Aggro once again, and Doug, the man, the absolute machine on the Observer Spectator. This guy does more games than anyone. I don't know where he gets, like, the brain power to follow the action as well as he does.
It's actually insane. Well. Yeah, and I'm not kidding when I say that, look, what we do, casting is an art form. It's this weird sort of thing. Subjective, all that kind of stuff. No one could do Doug's job. Like, no. It's not possible, man. I could never do Doug's job. I just don't have it in me. I don't have the mental fortitude.
I think when I saw bad plays, I'd just stare at the beach and just remember the good times of, that sort of action.
Yes, you would definitely take us to the beach.
When the casters start talking stupidly, I just turn around and put it on, I don't know, auto, assisted? No, it's not assisted, free cam? Who knows? Whatever. But this time round, let's see how the action begins for the duo lane here, as it's Neil on the Odin this time round. We're one god away from the complete cast of Smite. I mean, Loki doesn't count, let's be honest. But we're one god away, and chat's very upset that we've not seen it yet. Don't worry, chat, it's coming. Do you really think I'd let you down with a script? Come on, give me a break. It's not going to be this set, though. Are you crazy? No way. No way.
So you're telling me that we are 100%, no doubt about it.
I'll have a chat with SSG, alright? Because I'm pretty sure those boys wouldn't mind a cheeky Opwash game for us. We'll see. Okay?
All right.
If they let me down,
a guarantee.
I'll deport them or something. I don't know. We'll see.
What, you have that kind of power?
I mean, in the SPL, yeah, sure. It's not that hard. First blood, though, did go the way of Renegades. Apologies for that. And the members in chat, they get upset on the casters not following the action, because Doug sure did. And that went the way of Lasbra early on this circuit. What are you in that?
Variety just blinked in a scary stun. I thought he just died. I thought he was dead.
On purpose. He was baiting it. That's what he's trying to do. He's just not trying to waste those abilities to keep this negative pressure in lane, is what he's after here. Makes it easy to farm the creeps,
He did a bang-up job. I don't know. Is that an English phrase? Okay.
Bang up job. I mean, yeah. I guess you could say bang up. Yeah, I guess that works.
I actually have started using one very English phrase, and now whenever anyone asks me to do anything or something like that, I say could do. Say could do. Like, you know, if you were like, yo, Aggro, could you, like, stop being so bad at your job? I'd say could do. And then I wouldn't for the record, but...
I was going to say, I mean, that's not possible anyway, so, like, you're just lying at that point, right?
Well,
like,
but I could do. Like,
no,
okay, say what you want, but you have to admit, I could do.
Okay.
I just won't.
I mean, yeah, okay, if that's the phrase you got to use, could do. Where's casting today? What the hell? Man, they're upset in chat. I guess we try hard for a second. Variety getting aggressive against Scary D, and Lasper's looking for the kill, and Scary D's gonna go down! What a great play on the last day of the SPL regular season, where the game does not matter at all! But that's the main thing! We cast, we get excited, and the chat goes wild with Pog Champs! Pog Champs for days! Was that okay? Did that work out?
Yeah, that worked for me. Okay? Yeah, that worked for me.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure, you know, we want to make sure we hit as many people, get a wide variety of excitement for everyone. Meet everyone's needs. Just type in chat. We'll try and make sure we keep you entertained throughout the day. All right, enough of the Pog Champs. Calm down. Calm down. A little bit much.
You just Hinduman, do I have to be looking at chat? I just don't want to.
No, you don't have to do that. I'm just having fun with him today, you know? Just
okay, good.
Ourselves.
Yeah, that's... You are kind of a chat monster these days. You love being a little Twitch chatter.
Oh, well, Neilmar loves being eaten by a kraken, or a shark in that case, as Venenu gets a nice little kill again onto Neil. It looks like Neil's having a hard day at the office this game round on this Odin pick. We'll see how it goes though, as once again Lasper's back in action, looking at Scary D, but this time Scary D says, no, I don't want your kisses here. I don't want.
Look, Hindu, you've been in this situation. You play support, you pop off, just like Neil did last game, right?
Daily.
He kind of went full awesome Neil 408, if you ask me, with that one. And then you get the same ADC, you're kind of liable to run it down. Just like they're trying to do now, as Lasbra now 3-0 to start us off.
That was dope. Okay, so Variety kills the creeps that have poison to spread it again to Cubo Fred, but Neilmar for the hero play, the duck squat, nope. Off the mark, because Deathbane's OP. Lasper will get away, or will he? Because Paul's coming. What's Paul got available? No ultimate here. Couple of plants to put down. Just wait 10 seconds. Remember, you can interact with those plants. Not really. Only Persephone can, but awesome. Jake to the rescue with the freeze. And now the pressure's back on as Neil is level 4. The ring's coming, boys. And when it comes, the burning ring of fire will begin.
I hope not, but we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. Variety completely out of mana, but Scary only level 4, so I don't think that there's going to be a major problem for Variety on this side of the map right now. Look, after last game, we were all gassing Cubo. Lasper's kind of coming in and saying that he wants some gas. 4-0 in just 5 minutes, and they haven't even all been in duo lane.
Yeah, how do you think about Lasper's season so far, by the way? Because I think he's got a lot, not necessarily better, because I feel like he's always been pretty solid. He just looks a little bit more settled these days.
That was pretty clean. I think when Renegades are looking really good, it's because Lasbra is getting off to early leads and controlling the map really well. And I think that Lasbra has really gotten really good this year at controlling the map early game. I think his biggest weakness has been in the past and still is his late game play and what he wants to do in these team fights. It's a hard job as an assassin to dive into the back line. I'm being a little, normally I'm a bit facetious on that, but it is. It's hard to find your spot as an assassin player in the late game team fights. I think that's the area that we need to see Lasbra grow the most, but if he could get off to starts, maybe not exactly like this in a game that has a lot of stakes, but starts more similar to this, then it maybe won't matter that much that he's not as comfortable come late game because he's good enough to snowball the game by himself.
Third bomb connects, as does the ring. Kraken did tickle a little bit, but this time round Venenu won't kill Neil. It'll be Paul that takes out Venenu. And Jake and Lasbra can only watch on as the Hunters, who are having the best game of their careers so far, I will say, because neither has been ganked pre-5 minutes.
Huge. And Zap's feeling like, okay, now I can get it going. It was only because I got ganked so many times last game that he had a rough one. Think he might be on the receiving end of another one here if Jake can weave his way through these wards in the jungle As Jake playing the Ymir is always a treat, if you ask me. I just love watching Jake play this god. I think he's just so comfortable on it.
I was kind of hoping I'm going to execute coming over to hit Variety. No sustain available to make sure he stays topped up with a conviction there. But what I would say, I really wanted to see Neil play the emoji this game and Jake play the tier. You know, just for the role reversal last game. I would have been excited to see that. Instead,
yeah,
I'm excited to see the Gold Fury going down at 7 minutes in here. Uncontested by PK. Not going to be in a position at the moment, as a couple of them were just straggling back from base.
And despite the early kill advantage for the Renegades, it's really not, as you would put it, not all doom and gloom here for the Pittsburgh Knights, because they're in a pretty decent position. What was that?
That got stole. I don't use that line anymore because everyone kept using it, so I had to stop using it. Happens way too much.
What about if someone like takes a little bit too much damage, and I say takes more than bargained for? But more, it's more like, oh, but he takes more than bargained for, like as you know, as it's happening. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I do use that one quite a bit. That's just for me to buy time, really, because I think there's going to be more action, you know? So I'm like, yeah, more than bargained for. Oh, but talking about action, Scary D gets another kill on Variety. They tried to put Scary D behind, and Scary D's having none of that here today, as he now gets more support from Cubo Fred. And this could be a tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, which would at least equal out that Gold Fury that went down a little bit earlier on.
Definitely more than bargained for there for Variety on the right-hand side. No ultimate at the time, just now coming up, and with Fred popping over and using that Nemo, pretty free for that to be a kill for Scary, and he still has the execute. Yeah, that was down as well, so that's a pretty good position now for him. Maybe he can leverage this lead into another solo kill.
Okay, the one thing I want to keep an eye on, right, is like when you get tilted enough in a game like this to press the F6 key, when you look and see the enemy junglers 5-0.
Yeah.
And a level down? Hang on. What is going on this game? This is madness. He's got 5 kills and he's a level down. He's worth more than everyone, but he's still a level down. This game doesn't make sense anymore, guys.
This is why. Barra goes, hey, Lasbra, come kill Zapman. And Lasbra goes,
don't take the farm.
Okay, but can I farm? And Barra goes, Zapman is your farm, dude. But don't take any of my minions at the same time. And Lasbra goes, okay. And then he has to come and sit in left jungle. Eventually, he gets a kill for it, but that was a lot of time that he wasn't getting any farm.
Never seen a support player like Neil jump into a Kraken before, but I just saw that there, and it was very interesting to see. Purple buff invaded on Zap's side of the map this time round, so Zap not going to have a purple this time. He'll be very upset about that, as it was actually shared with Lasbra in the jungle there, Ryan.
Huge.
Barracuda not too happy about that. I'm pretty sure when we go back to his player cam, he'll have a bit of a frown about having to share that experience.
Yeah, Barracuda and Frowning, name a more iconic duo, am I right? I mean, the guy just can't stop.
Look at him.
Oh my god, he actually is frowning.
He's so upset. He's so upset.
Oh my god, that's the maddest I've ever seen Barra in my whole life.
I think he realized he's going to have to get on a podcast with you later today after this.
Yeah, can't blame him then. I'm equally upset. Here, bring the camera to us. I can show you.
Why? Why would you do that? Well, because we're paused, that's why. Sorry,
right, because we're paused. Like, it was, yeah, I'm sure you were. Like, it was like a bit, you know, that I knew we needed to pause, and then here's my frown because I have to be with Barracuda later.
Who's on the show today?
Ro.
Oh, that'll be interesting. I'm very excited to hear about his picks and ban strategies through the year because they've gone so well.
Yep. Okay, I can't stop. I'm excited, Ro. I love talking to Ro. I think it's going to be a good show.
I was down for that bit for a second there. At the moment,
I know. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll do it again. Yeah, their picks and bans have been really great.
Really? I mean, what have we actually seen out of Renegades this year that was good? I'm joking because otherwise we're going to get some tweets about this, and then there'll be so much drama from the players again. Oh my god, the casters, they're so biased. They don't give us the credit we deserve. After the haircut, though, we've been giving Renegades credit, and we know why, because Barracuda is performing very well as of late.
Do you think that Barra is going, you know, he's been playing so well since getting the Mohawk. Do you think he's like, hey, Variety, maybe a Mohawk could work for you? You know, Destiny's free on Thursday. She can come over to Team House. You know, oh, Blast, you're going to be there too? Might as well just give the whole team Mohawks.
I think it'd be a good strategy for them to go with. I have noticed a lot of the Europeans have really gone for the egghead look as of late. Like, really focused on shaving the head. I mean, they're all kind of copying and adapting on Wolfie, but I've seen Rafa doing it, Vote's been doing it. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the heat of Georgia just being too much, so they've decided to, like, loosen themselves up a little bit. That's what I think has been going on. We're going to pause at the moment. For the most part, what it really is Doug wanted a drink, so we're just going to wait for Doug to get back from getting his drink, and we'll be good to go again. That's the most important thing, keeping your spectator hydrated. Big key.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just making sure he gets everything he needs. You know, we stock the fridge for him, and then he just goes and grabs whatever drink he needs at any given time. If it's in the middle of a game, it's in the middle of a game. You know, what Doug says goes around here.
And for the most part, for you guys tuning in, at this point, we'd just be talking about the game and giving reasons for what's going on in it. Because it doesn't really matter that much and the guys are having fun, we're having some fun too. So we might as well just mess around and then come back to see Ymir go boom.
Oh, Zap popping off a little duo lane. This is classic Zap Hindu man. I've seen it a million times. He gets camped in one game, you know, 1,000 Smurfs on the other team. He has a bad game, then he gets motivated, turns on the Jets, flips the switch, and then comes back and is ready to go for the next Q. I mean, this is just a tale as old as time.
I still don't get turning on the Jets so there's no water involved. I just don't see the benefit of it. Like, you're not near a lake or anything, right? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Why is that going to be useful?
Well, turning on the Jets, like, not like a, what do you think of, like a hot tub? It's not like a hot tub, it's like a jet plane. No, it's like a
jet
plane.
Ski?
You know, it's...
Oh,
no,
I thought we were
not
like
like
jet skis or boats or something. I'm like, turn on the jets. Oh, okay. So we're turning on the planes is what we do.
Yeah, you're hitting the gas. You know what I mean? It's turning on the Jets. It's like the next step of the gas in that same sort of
Isn't it throttle on a plane though, not a jet? You know, like you turn on the throttle.
Well, it's the jet engine. I think it's close.
Well, Ymir Wall going to come out there from Jake. Is Neil still getting aggressive on this left-hand side, trying to jump on in, getting closer towards Laz, and the blink afterwards into the grasp of death. But immediately that wall got taken down so quickly. I feel Barracuda really helped out there on that Rama just to give him that bit of a window. And then we're going to move to the left-hand side. Yeah, we're getting a few frame issues. We can see it, chat. Bear with us. We're dealing with it. Don't worry. We fix this quick as we can. So you know, we're still casting off this point of view. So, yeah, we also deal with it too.
Hey, that's the way it's got to be sometimes. Unfortunately, we're going to have to get it working. But we will. We will. Oh, did you get a drink as well? Can I go get one? I'm kind of thirsty.
Yeah. I didn't join that first game, honestly. There was something else really going on. We're going to go to a quick break, guys. Bit of a technical issue, obviously. Perfect. As soon as we get back, we'll bring you more of this game and the rest of the day, and maybe we'll see that ARP wash. After the break, we'll be back. Back to the SPL, and we're back in game again to look at some PK versus Renegades in a moment and see exactly how this one's going to play out between the two. Apologies for the technical issues today. It's been a long year, boys and girls. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's been a while since Phase 2 started. It started in the summer, and it is November now, in case you weren't keeping track. But we're here, and we've arrived, and that's what really matters. You know, it's been a journey, as some would say.
Oh, Zapman getting the kill on Veneni with that global rotation out of Apollo. Not seen too much of that. Paul, meanwhile, finding a hard time with a wall there in the jungle that's not normally there. Is now Jake gonna help out Variety, getting the kill. Into the sky goes Barracuda, looking for the snipes. Won't need too many of them. Miss Paul will take the life of at least one. Cuba Fred getting Barra, and this opens up an Oni Fury now for PK.
Wait, I know Doug was having some issues. Was Lasbra? He's still level 10. Cubo's level 14. That's a lot. Dude. Lasbra's 6-1. How is he this far down? Fred is just farming up an absolute storm at this point, and Lasbra's going tanky. He's going for a Pridwin next item, just relying on those prots from Sledge, I guess.
Interesting to see how that'll work out as this one continues on. If you're just tuning in, though, it's the tail end of Season 7 of the SPL, the final day. And we managed to get through the whole year online. I just want to give a shout out real quick to production, because this is not an easy task, guys, just to be clear, on trying to put on a weekly broadcast. Sure, we've had issues, but the fact that everyone's dealing with our home service ISPs, as well as getting the equipment to work, and we got player cams by the end of the year, production did a pretty good job this year, if I say so myself.
Popped off harder than just about anybody. They've been on constant pop. The Jets have been well, yeah, obviously besides Jittins. So I didn't even think you needed to say that.
Yeah, I just want to be clear.
Since day one, the switch has been flipped. The Jets have been activated. They've been hitting the gas. That's all they know how to do. They don't know how to turn the switch back. They just don't know.
Variety caught in an awkward spot there as the ring came down. Just wanted to make sure I casted that because Hamlet 101 said he didn't care, and we should talk about the game. So I'm talking about the game. Ymir in the jungle, walking through near the purple buff, heading towards the tier 2 tower. Now where the tier 1 tower used to stand, over towards the minion wave, which is still in the lane, and they wrapped all the way around. They were looking for Zapman, but he wasn't clearly there because Zapman was in base buy-in. Now we tune in with Neilmar and Cuvo Fred on the right-hand side. Neilmar's going to base as the minion wave dies on the right-hand side.
That's some good
talk about the game.
Radio soccer commentary right there. I was thinking we
wanted
go a little
to
bit more like golf style. You know what I mean?
Golf style?
Yeah, a little bit more low-key, a little bit more mellow, things like...
That's a lovely tier 2 tower on the right-hand side, taken down by PK. Now the lineup of the Zapman ultimate is in effect. The wind has to be direct as he lands on down. Beautiful swoosh through.
Whoa.
But an actual turn.
We're on a golf course. Quiet. We're on a golf course. You gotta show some respect. No!
How is supposed to do?
It's get in the hole, like Scary's drive right here.
Asper needed to know there was a ball coming that way, and the ball was Scary D.
That would have been, that would have been good. Yeah, you're right. We should have called for it. That's all you have to do, by the way, to be like if you call for and someone gets hit, not your fault anymore. You yelled for it.
Oh, base race, base race! Oh no, Renegades are making a mistake though. Look at it. They've split the difference of the base race, trying to get 2 instead of the 1. Although they're gonna get him. I thought they could have gone for Phoenixes there.
Well, they might get them both. This is gonna be ugly.
Come on, Ymir! Come on, Ymir!
This is a Ymir to Poseidon. You can't Ymir passive the tower down. You got it, Ben. Let's go, baby. Too easy for him.
Oh, grasping death! Oh, the wall access
great
denied.
wall.
Or is it? Because now the escape route is through the jungle. Blink away as the ultimate came through from Cuvo Fred.
Okay.
Kraken was there to celebrate the escape of the tier 2 tower from Venenu. Jake will not celebrate in style. Scary D gets body blocked on the ultimate by Variety as Venenu is still alive and running for his life.
Oh, but Laz was pushing mid now, so there's no tier 2 tower for him there. He's gonna loop underneath maybe, and well, Fire Giant's up and they're doing it, but speed buff is available here, Graham, and you know what the jungler is gonna prioritize.
Listen, Lasbra can hear you. You just told him off for not farming, so he goes to get farm and then you complain. You can't do that. That's not fair.
Okay. That, I understand what you're saying. I'm receiving your input, and I'm going to choose to ignore it, actually. Yeah, I thought about it. I'm just going to ignore that. Yeah.
I've casted with you for like 5-6 years now, and like I've noticed that already, so it's not
you're used to it.
Usual. Yeah. You know, it's like bread and butter at that point. Well, here we go again as Zapman takes on 3 in the jungle. That was a
big
moment from Steamer. He's still alive, Zapman! Oh, the poison spread to Cuvo too. But in comes Fred to get himself a double. Looking for a triple, but no one really around as Ymir just came back. The pings are on that awesome Jake Ymir right now.
Not quite the zap for 4, the iconic trade, but zap for 3, not too bad. And I really thought that was a classic Zapman Aegis, and I suppose it was at the end of the day, but he was 1 tick away from surviving. Kind of forgot that Lasbra was going tankish Circuit with the build.
Back door of a tier 2 tower, potentially in the mid lane as Cuvo Fred starts it up. Scary D gonna zone away Ymir and Variety away from this right hand side. And now they're gonna proxy because this is what you do in pro level games. Proxy.
Yeah, that's it makes you do more damage. It doesn't, I can't lie. I was gonna go on a whole bit about it, but I shouldn't. It's just it's more efficient that way, and now you've gotten the tier 2 tower. Renegades have no towers left on the map. And PK in a very similar position to where Renegades were last game, where they were up about this much at this point in the game. It didn't take much longer for Renegades to be able to close it out.
Oh, aggro. I like what Virgil_85 just said in chat. He said Aegis so he could spread the poison to Cuvo. That's high-level plays there, actually. I really like that one. Yeah,
that is big. That is big.
It's not often
like
I read somebody in chat that makes sense, but that makes sense.
Shoutouts to Virgil out there for really understanding the game at a high level. And look, Zap's motivations are not always easy. You know, sometimes you think of Zappa as an enigma a little bit, but right there, that takes a big brain to lock that down.
Well, you can ride around the paddock all you want, Variety, but you ain't going to escape it this time round, as Cubo Fred gets the kill on Variety for his 7th death of the game. Variety at the moment doing his best Zapman impression, but now Zap's on the Apollo. Mana running out, getting deep in the jungle, looking for Barracuda, the 1v1. Ult for ult exchange. Barra's going to buy some time with those snipes and wait for reinforcements, but the bad news is the reinforcements were from the wrong team. We're going to a game 3 if they can get this middle Phoenix, I feel like. Renegades have made mistakes here.
No one, and I mean no one, makes Steven Zapman Zappis get 10 deaths and gets away with it. No, let this be a lesson to every ranked player out there. You cannot afford to activate Zap's passive. Look, he's a little bit older now, Graham. It took him an extra game to activate the passive. No one should blame him for that. He's here and he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the Renegades player cams because they all are very upset right now. Like, look at him, even Variety's just like, ugh. Barra's still like, guys, I'm 0-3. You just let him 4-man rotate at the speed buff to kill me.
Dude, he's still thinking about Lasbra sharing that purple.
He is. That's probably it. That's probably why they look a bit dejected right now, because the farm, he's down about 3 levels now here, Barracuda. As Pittsburgh Knights kind of control this game heavily. I mean, it's an 11k gold lead.
They're in complete control. You know, normally, I would say this is a 99%er. And I guess that is still technically true because it isn't literally over. But for context, I want everyone to know that it's like 99.9999999%, give or take.
I don't think I've seen this many celebratory Krakens out of Veneno in a while, but they are celebrating so far here, Renegades, as they do manage to pick up that kill on Scary D, and then head back into the jungle for farm. Barra is going to have to share purple again, and he will not be happy about that. Look at his face.
Look at him. Yeah.
Oh, he was so upset.
Disgust. Disgust is the only word for it. And Ven, to his credit, has made a really nice adjustment to the build. If these Krakens are going to be reserved for celebration only, might as well not build to make them do a whole lot of damage. You might as well go with something like the Demonic Grip, and that way your Trident will get a little bit more value. Now,
it's not going to haste Ring. Disappointing.
No, not yet. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he wants a little bit more mana. Yeah, more mana in order to zoom around more.
Okay. Well, Fire Giant looks like it's getting set up by PK right now as we see a little tussle in the jungle. And at the moment, it was Cubo Fred against Barracuda, lost half his health. Grasping Death came through, didn't do much because Variety had his ultimate available. But now Variety's got no health as he dismounts and needs a conviction, and that's about it. Jake, meanwhile, on the front line, trying to zone away Zapman to the best of his ability. Zapman beads did come through, and to the skies he goes. Where he lands, nobody knows. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a creep wave on the right-hand side. Lasbra going to take people on an adventure to the right. Jake's going to take them right to where the game will end at the Titan on this right-hand side. Phoenix under threat as Lasbra takes on Scary D.
Yeah, I don't think Lasbra's going to win this one, regardless of the build at this point. Got 4 members up against 1 awesome Jake. And it is awesome Jake. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they can make a play.
He's got his ult. What can he do? I go...
Huge.
To game 3, PK. Take this one down in pretty convincing fashion there, sure. Renegades got some good kills on the board, but for the most part, it was PK that farmed better and got the majority of the major objectives. 1-1 tied up. Who would have thunk the final day when the games don't matter? They take us to a game 3. I've never seen that before in my life.
But wait, Hindu Man, you're the scriptwriter. Like, isn't this technically on you?
Yes.
Why, man?
I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun, but for some reason I put myself on this cast and I forgot about it is the biggest issue. Because most of the time I try and avoid these ones. I've done a few of them over the years. That's it for Game 2 though. After the break, Finch and Gore will try and break down what happened in that game because for the most part, they were just having a fiesta. After that though, they'll bring you picks and bans for Game 3. We'll see you after the break.
Happy to have you back here in the SPL. Finch here, as now this set is all tied up. PK finding a pretty convincing win if you just forget about those first 5 or 6 minutes or so, and taking us all the way to a Game 3 in this one. And Gore, I think that's kind of the place that I want to start with, is that this was a game that initially seemed as though it was going to be another quick Renegades win. They got off to a great start here at the beginning of this game. Lasper was involved with this circuit, but it did not pan out that way. PK were able to get back in this largely on the back of Paul having another good Persephone game.
Yeah, there was a certain point where the Knights were just like, wait a minute, guys, we don't gotta lose? Like, I don't know if you know that, but, like, we don't have to lose this one. Like, it doesn't have to be a week full of only 2 zeros. And I honestly thank them for it, because we had some really fast days. And it kind of leaves you, like, you would think the extra time at the end of the day would be, like, a gift, but then you kind of sit there like, man, what do I do now? Like, I'd be watching Smite right now any other day. And either way, I'm actually excited because it gives us the opportunity, one, for Opwash. I'm going to throw that one out there just in case Venenu, if you're listening, you can try to make that one happen for us. But realistically, it's just because the Knights, you still want to end on a good note, right? Like, you still want to come out and find a 2-0. If you're going to be going forward into things like the playoffs, you have to do so. I'm just thankful that Hindu Man decided to write into the script Scotty and Apollo getting 100% win rates here at the very end of everything, just to make sure that things continued well and that we could at least gloat around that stat, because I think that's incredible that ended up that way. Barra comes in with the Scotty, looks really good. Yep. Zapman goes from 1-11 to 6-1-9. I mean, Paul's 9-1-8. Cuvo's 6-1 and what was that, 13 that comes through. It's kind of hard to argue with it. The numbers kind of do all the explaining. There's a certain point where the Knights just started to kill the Renegades better.
Yeah, who needs Rom and Cupid? Apollo and Scotty are the winning hunters of this set. Though I don't know that they're where I would start this story if I were writing about how this set went on. I think this one led by that right side of the map here for PK. Cubo, Fred, and Scary, as always, are able to step up for this team when they need them. Renegades struggling in a lot of different areas. And I'm not so sure, Gore, if this is one that I would put down to a draft here for Renegades. I think that 9 times out of 10 you could expect Ven to have a fine game on Poseidon, or for Jake to look better than look this game on the Amir. But it did not work out this time. PK came in ready. Maybe not right from the beginning, but they hit their stride eventually, and they're ready to bounce back.
They've just, for both of these games, they've just taken Smite and dialed it up to 11, right? Like, that's how they're kind of playing. We didn't get quite as many kills, but you still got an 11-minute Fire Giant, one of the fastest ones that we've gotten to see all year. So, like, when you have pressure like that, and when the game's going at that pace, you're going to get to a breaking point at some point, right? And unfortunately, the Renegades didn't get that retaliation back against the Knights. The Knights just kind of kept it rolling and rolling and rolling after those first few minutes, as you had highlighted earlier.
They bring us then to a Game 3. Let's hop into those picks and bans. The bans and picks. Bans come first. Everyone knows that. Renegades will be in the first spot. PK in second. And we shall see how this position affects us. I saw you tweeted out there, Gore, that order side a little bit ahead. 56-44. Not exactly backbreaking by any means, but it's something. And maybe that little something, that extra 6%, can help out Renegades here.
That's an interesting just idea to have, because you know, we had talked about it, I think, specifically around Radiance, because they had a very wide variance between their order side win rate and their chaos side win rate, to the point where there were some teams that, you know, Radiance I think was one of them, where it's like, if you get chaos side, like, you can almost expect them to lose this game because of that. But it is something to note that, you know, similar to how matchmaking works, right? Like, if you're on the order side, theoretically, you should be winning this. I don't think that's how we determine it for the Pro League. This one is just loser's pick overall. So Renegades opting to take this, and it puts them back in that position as Game 1, right? You get that Yamoja first pick, and it just pops off. I mean, what was that, a 6-1 slash line, if I remember correctly, for Jake that game? So he did really well there. You definitely want to prioritize it, and if they're forced to ban the Yamoja this time, you can get Jake something a little more comfortable up there with the Sobak.
I like this adjustment too, right? It was a night and day difference between the Emoja and the Amir for him. So go ahead and prioritize getting him a value pick early on in the draft, especially when picking up a hunter like Rom or Cupid has not done anyone any favors this set so far. I don't think you feel bad about giving that one up over there to PK. So Renegades now, I'd say, Gore, in a pretty good spot here in this set so far, though that changes when Scary D gets to lock in the Amaterasu. It felt as though she fell off the face of the earth, but I think that's an overreaction, Gore. Amaterasu's still plenty good.
Yeah, it's the only way I can describe it is, you know, when you touch a hot stove and you jerk away, like you have that knee-jerk reaction. There were some Amaterasu nerfs. Maybe she isn't the #1 must-lock-in, you know, warrior of the world now, where she's got a 70-some-odd%, I think it was 76 at one point, win rate that she was able to bring through. But that doesn't mean, like you said, that she's not good. I think she's still going to bring a lot. Her ult, especially in the middle of a team fight, incredibly disruptive. Her damage is still good. Her laning should still be good. In fact, I don't know if they did enough, realistically, to take her out of the game just yet. So I like this pickup for the Knights. I do have bad news for Zapman, though. In the matchup of Rom versus either Scotty or Apollo, Rom's been losing so far this set. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but with Rom, Amaterasu, Hebo, maybe 3 of the best picks for the Knights that we've seen all year, I'm leaning a little bit, like, I like the flavor Renegades are bringing with the Scotty and the Naja.
Yeah, I do want to see a big mid laner to go along with this, right? The Sash and the Windfire Wheels are such great setup that you kind of traditionally want someone in that middle lane who could follow up on it. But Gore, I'm with you, man. I don't know. So far this set, having Rom has not been that good for you, so maybe Renegades can kind of keep that trend going. And this Naja, if it is for Lasbra, I mean, this is an odd pick. We do not see this pick very much anymore at all. What really made him thrive before was that you could play Naja in the support role and sort of get a nice, still get a lot of damage but build him tanky out of it. But I don't think Naja gets that anymore. If Lasbra's going to play him in the jungle, he's going to do this the hard way.
I mean, there is some merit. The other day, Renegades locked in Sobek tier, and the tier ended up going support for them. Granted, there's been a lot of history of Jake playing the tier support, but they could just send this Sobek over to Variety and actually have Jake lock in this Naja if they want to pivot there. So maybe there's some flexibility in it. I don't know how much they've practiced that, and I would go ahead and bet that won't happen just because we haven't seen a good track record of it. But of course, if you're at the end of the year, maybe you're letting Jake try something out. And maybe that's true, but maybe it's just in a different form. Naja and Cabrakan, we've seen both as support, both in the jungle, so it's making it even more ambiguous.
Yeah, this has made it less clear. I thought it would make it more clear, but I'm less clear on where all this stuff is going to be going. I mean, it does seem as though we're more likely to put Naja in the jungle of these 3, right? But is that any guarantee? And now it's a double hunter, and see, this is even more of this confusion for me. Certainly these hunters will do well with this CC. I don't want to make it sound like they will not, but it's not what I traditionally would think of, especially with Naja and Sobek. You have all of this quality setup. You're going to hit everything in this game if you're the backline here for Renegades, and early, that's probably a bit better off with some of that mage damage than hunters. But if they get this Scotty and this Neath online, they're going to do plenty of damage. Find a weave, drop a spirit arrow on it, and you are not going to live through that.
Man, not only did I lose my bet and now owe Katie money because there's no op wash, but also the Neath gets locked in, like her favorite god that comes through as well. I actually like for the pace that this game has been, I think Renegades have another, 20, 22-minute composition here, right? Like, this is not one that I expect to go 50 minutes and really be a slugfest. This is a composition that either stomps on you or gets rolled over. I do not think there is a lot of in-between ground for it. The Cabrakan, the Sobek may be able to pull some of that back, but Naja, Scotty, and Neath, if they start to fall behind, I don't know if they bring enough to take down that lineup over on this side of the screen. What the Knights have, I mean, Hebo, Amaterasu, Rom on its own is scary, and Odin, a Nemesis to lock it through just to set them up for even more means that if the Knights get ahead here, then it is just going to be a steamroller versus a pile of dough. Otherwise, I think the Renegades, if they can get themselves a lead, they could absolutely beat up on the Knights here and make it look pretty quick.
It's worth noting, these are not traditional hunters, though. I think both Neath and Scotty a little bit more fairly fit into like the ability-based hunters, so that is better than normal, than just 2 hunters in terms of all this setup and their ability to follow up on it. So it's not as if they're going to be completely lacking in that regard, and I think it kind of puts them in this weird middle ground. I don't, like you said, they're definitely not going to want to be coming all the way to late, but these hunters will certainly still do well in that spot. But if Paul's playing Hebo, it's not going to be easy for me to try and bet against them on this one, right? It's one of his better picks in that middle lane there as well, so this is an easy toss-up is how I would describe this. An easy push here between these two teams here at this point, Gormizer. And luckily, you and I don't have to be the ones that decide who the winners are. They will dictate it themselves on the battleground.
I mean, yeah, I guess they'll dictate it themselves for the most part. I mean, everyone knows this is all live, and yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen, right, Aggro?
Yep. Well, you said exactly, 100%. Well, again, you know, you have the script that's like the bit that we've been running with for years now. Is that
I saw a Reddit post about that today because
exactly
some people still don't know it. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
jungle.
Besides you.
I do like this Neef pick, though. I'm not going to lie. I really do think Neef is a little bit on the sleepery side all of a sudden. And there's a chance we could see a resurgence when we get towards playoffs and worlds, I want to say. Because I think her impact with those World Weavers can really cause a problem.
Agreed. I think Automatization's in a good spot for her. I mean, Crusher's still super strong. Transcendence isn't the strongest it's ever been, but it's also not a bad item by any stretch. And when you add in that CDR from Transcendence, the power from Crusher, Jotuns, and Heartseeker is just so good on her. Yeah. You can end up like half healthing or 2/3 of a Squishy's health come late game with that ultimate, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. I agree. I think she's pretty good.
Interesting to see Paul not even go for poke there, just focus on wave clear on that very first level. As now Calder is back in action for Barracuda here. There's a chance that Scardy doesn't have a 100% win ratio if he loses this one, so it's quite an important game if you're a Renegades fan or a Scardy fan for Barracuda here.
Are you, okay, so let's say you are a Scotty fan. First of all, talk to someone. Secondly, are you mad at Barra for ruining the 100% win rate, or are you happy that he got her to 100% win rate?
That's a good question.
Like, you really put it at his feet?
Yeah, I mean, because then technically, like, if he loses with it, then he's got a 66.67% win ratio on her, which ain't too bad, right? And it also keeps her a little bit under the curtain of appeal for other people as Lasbeth knocked up there. It's very tanky, though. It looked like PK couldn't make up the mind who they wanted to go on there, funny enough. Or was that just tankiness of the Cabrakan?
Yeah, Cabrakan passive pretty good, it turns out. It just flat mitigation all the time for you and anyone near you. That turns out to be pretty good, even at level 1. Still cost Veneno his beads at the very least, so certainly worth PK's time on that invade.
I think we got into a serious mode all of a sudden, though, because look at this. Awesome Jake turned off his camera. Oh. That means, like, he's upset, you know, he's going to try hard now. He's going to need to, because Barracuda's getting ganked by Neil Moore, and they're waiting out the ability of the Aegis to make sure they can go for the stun, but the stun miss from Neil. However, the slow from Zapman and those arrows going to cause some problems. Teammates are on the way. Can Jake get here in time with Veneno? It looks like just them being around there will be enough, but the Aegis was used.
That's at least something, but not exactly the worst relic to lose if you're Barracuda. I mean, will that save you a second time? Probably not. I mean, if Neil just lands a stun, I think he's dead either way. So really, that Aegis shouldn't have even saved him in the first place. But good jukes from Barra is where we're going to go.
We're still going to get some action in the dual lane again as the fight continues as Neil skirts around in circles. He enjoyed himself. Look how happy he is about what happened to him there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Just ping-ponged around on the ice and dies, and now Zap's next on the list. Or Rizzy, rollout was available and still held his beats. Nice calm look from Zapman there, and Barracuda looking a little bit better than Game 2 in terms of happiness state. Not by much, but a little bit.
Well, hey, Lasbeth hasn't come to share it at all, and so he's feeling pretty good about his chances right now. Poor Neil, man. I mean, who in the world would ever suggest an ice field where you just bounce around all over the place and have no control over where your character was going? I
wouldn't put damage on it. I wouldn't put damage on it. I'd just make a slide field. That'd be fun. That's what I'd do. But, you know, it's not my decision. At the end of the day, things happen. As now Neil gets aggressive, gets a stun on Barry, who doesn't have an Aegis is there. It's Cuba Fred jumping in. But the trap was already set because at the same time, Lasbeth was there. The bad news is it's not working out great for the Renegades as they always lost Barracuda. But can they get Cuba Fred on Neil? Well, support for Hunter isn't the greatest thing in the world. But the good news is it looks like Barra may not get his purple buff. Venenu's going to take it instead.
Well, I mean, that's his. He's made the rotation all the way over here. Actually, Vent still has red, and that just got picked up. So I guess Barra can have the purple if he really wants it so badly. Did Barra just walk out of base to the jungle and then back right away?
He had enough money for boots. He even smiled. He knew what he was doing. Remember, that's Scardy ice as well. When you step on it as Scardy, you get more movement speed. So maybe he just wanted to, you know, zoom out from base quicker. He's not really lost anything. What's lost? 3 creeps. Scary D. Lost a beat.
He's going to miss that whole wave. Yeah, he's going to miss that whole wave, though. I mean, certainly... yeah, Jake won't. And look, I mean, with how Jake's been playing, I'm kind of fine with Jake taking a wave here or two now and then. This man's been popping off.
Yeah, he's now level 5 compared to the level 4 from Barracuda, but Barra's just going to sit and farm for a while. Meanwhile, Jake going to head towards mid lane, tax a bit more of that mid lane Venenu, who's also just hitting level 6 now, matching that of Paul, who has the red buff around his waist too. But there's a grouping on the right-hand side now, as Variety looks for an invade on the blue, and a World Weaver comes through onto Kiva Fred that's blocked in the jungle, and I'm not sure who hit that, but Paul is forced to run away from Jake.
Unlucky for Jake that both players use their ultimates at pretty much the exact same time, but not as unlucky as it was for Paul, who's just minding his business, walking through the jungle and gets caught by a World Weaver that he never knew was really coming. Still losing the beads and the ultimate, not great from here because Jake's ultimate will be up sooner than those purification beads will.
So I got a picture of Season 8, right, for what we can do in the Pro League, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the pros are going to sign up for it, but I think the fans would enjoy it, okay?
All right.
What we do is when we get to a Game 3 in a best of 3, both teams have to run the same comp.
What?
Wait a second. I'll come back to it. Barracuda trying to do his best jukes, but it's not going to work out. Zap gets the kill. Kiva with the assist on the left-hand side. Yeah, we let both teams run the same comp. I just want to see the Juba versus Juba matchup again. Barra versus Zapman. That's the only reason, I think. I just want to see that throwback to the old days.
You know, it would be a lot easier instead of changing every team and the way that the Pro League has worked forever because we've never let you have the same god. Instead of doing that, we could just like do some sort of charity thing where Baron Zap X-Ball 1v1 again.
We could do that, but then again, I mean, people complain about balance and like gods being OP, right? But if you could all play the same gods, then it's not an issue, right? Then it's just pure skill alone.
Right. So you're saying like, all right, what's even the point of picks and bans at that point? Are we just blind? Which team determines it?
We random the pick, or we let chat vote on the hunter that gets played for the day. We let chat vote on the jungler that gets paid for the day, you know? And then they have to play that. What do you think?
I hate it.
Yeah?
Listen, I know that you're the you're in chat, you're talking with them, all that kind of stuff.
They don't look happy too, I don't know. So
they
don't seem to be the case.
Look, I'm gonna keep it real. I don't want chat controlling that or really a whole lot at all. If I have to be honest with you, I just don't.
Wait, we don't want to give chat more control. Chat knows what they're doing. They are like platinum level at the worst. You know, like
there is literally no way that's even true. There is no way that's true.
Of course they are. There's not one person in chat now that's below platinum. I can guarantee you. Guarantee you. And if they are below platinum, it's the rank system that did it. That's the key. It blamed the system. It's not them. System. Everyone's platinum above. I'm sure.
Sure.
There is too much intelligence in that chat for me.
What percentage of chat do you think is in ELO hell?
99.2%.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. The only reason I'm saying that is because like a few of them, you know, are in the division they should be, but they just don't admit, you know?
Right, but everybody else those people know though. I mean, they're just not admitting it, but everyone else. Okay, I understand.
Correct.
Well, if that's the case, then sure, let's let them draft. They've got to have a pretty good understanding.
I mean, it'll mix up the league a little bit. We'll definitely get all gods played through a year, just like we have here. Now, you're in mid lane, though, from Jake, looking towards Neil Mast, and after the fact coming out from Lasbro, who will secure the kill with the Fists of Fury. He will drop down, though, to the Swords of Cubo Fred, and the knock-up onto Jake will allow Scary D to pick up the pieces in the mid lane as a solo gets into the action in the middle area.
Really well timed for PK to kind of turn it around because Neil was starting to fall a little bit behind. And look, he still dies in that moment, but at the very least, you take down Jake on the back end, you take down Lasbra on the back end. Paul doesn't get a kill, but still gets 2 assists, which pushes him over into double digits in the XP department. And PK get at least something going because Neil has struggled so far.
It's kind of funny to see when you look at the game, though, that like Game 1, Game 2, there were lots of fun, lots of over-the-top kills. Game 3, it's got serious all of a sudden, right? They're all like, all right, I guess we'll play a proper one. No, me neither, really.
If you're gonna do the having fun and trolling thing, I think you've got to commit. You know what I mean? You've got to commit because now I just want to be trolling. I don't want to have to like talk about the game and break it down and all that. I want to.
That's what we do. That's what we do. We can still meme at the same time. We just got to talk about the game, and the game right now, Variety, invading the blue buff. Rotation coming from Cuvo Fred. Jake playing Ring Around the Roses with Neil, but Neil did not get the mentioned Manuel at the ring. Instead, he went in a linear line towards where Variety was trying to get the blue buff. Rotation coming through from mid 2 as Lasbra zones away Paul, but Variety is now trapped in a ring of doom. He's got some support coming as he resustains back up, but that ult from Lasbra just caught off an escape route, and Variety's gonna die, as is Neil Marr. Awesome Jake eats some water. That's a different sort of jet than he's normally after, I would say. And Cuvo Fred gets hold of Lasbra.
Easy for Pittsburgh Knights. They're just picking apart the Renegades, and now Veneno needs to be careful. He's got beads, but he's awfully far up in this lane, and I think he's realized that right about now.
And there's a kill on the right-hand side too, 48 in the standing. So he's still a little bit kill-heavy, but PK are starting to pull away a little bit at the moment as they now try to strip some jungle. And that all kind of came about with Renegades getting aggressive on this right-hand side. Could be a Pyromancer here.
Look, in Renegades are falling for the classic trap. I mean, it's killing the support. It's just the support. Every time the support dies, they get to say, hey, they used Naja Sash on me. Like, that's a 13-second cooldown or so. Like, that's not even worth it. I'm just the support. What are they doing? And that's before we're talking about using ultimates or relics in order to kill a support. There's been too much of a focus on killing Neil, who's still been able to find good cages in the meantime. And the rest of Pittsburgh Knights' score lines are looking awfully pristine.
Yeah, it's always unfortunate when I hear people talk about supports like that. Like, man, we've got to talk about the supports that eat in these abilities. When mages do it, they've got relics to defend themselves, and they don't even use them half the time.
Well, I shouldn't need to. They shouldn't be allowed to hit me at all. Where's my support?
Well, be in a better position, and then maybe you won't get hit by them, right?
I was in the right position. My support wasn't in the right position.
By being in front
or my
of
jungler. Whoa, whoa.
Okay.
We can put this on the jungler. I'm fine with that too.
I'm down.
They should have never been able to get close enough to hit me. Where's my jungler?
Probably doing the enemy speed buff and being 4 levels down, but being up 8 kills to 1. Death.
Well, at least I've got Lasbra on my team.
Variety in trouble on the right-hand side. Will juke out the ultimate stun. Gets under his tower, but these are 2 tanky targets. Nice little wall wave from Veneno helps him out, though. Variety just staying in tower range, and now the pain arrives. Lasbra blinks on in, followed by a blink from Variety into the walls of doom. And the tremors drop down. Lasbra gets a double and goes, man, Kabrakan's pretty good.
Yeah, he's looking good on it, too. I've liked his engages. That was a really well-timed rotation, but as you said, Ven's ultimate was huge.
It really was. Left-hand side now, invade on the red buff from Awesome Jake and Barracuda. Barracuda trade out, but didn't realize that Neil Marr was wrapping around the back with the rings. That man doesn't actually get a lot of damage off, but he will go to the sky for the snipes and to try and steal the kill away. Juking his Barracuda, and Paul will make sure Zap doesn't get one here. And Paul's looking for 2, and will find it. Meanwhile, Lasbra, no ultimate available this time round, and Zap will escape. I believe that's the beach we're talking about. Or maybe it was a one from Paul towards the Furious.
It was Paul with a good reaction time to not get Naja ulted. Good attempt by Jake, but Paul a little bit too quick on the fingies on the relic right there. His Variety's made his way. Yeah. So whatever you'd like, if you know, Boosh beads their own thing, but let's say you just don't Aegis like a Kraken. That's a slow fingies alert. Your fingies were too slow on the button.
Well, one by one here, the Renegades fall down, but Variety will at least make sure Cuvo pays, and oh my goodness, he's trying to escape with his life. Can't escape Zapman, though, on the Rama with the roll through. Look at Zap. He's so happy about that kill.
He's locked in.
Easiest day of his life. He's locked in and good to go here.
Look, I really think that Zap probably didn't care that much about what happened here until he got 10 deaths in game 1, and then he really wanted to win, because then he didn't want to have to hear anything else about it.
Probably, and that's why he's in that sort of position now. 2K lead for PK in the penultimate set of the SPL of Season 7. And Scotty could be losing this one. I can't believe it. I was really hoping it'd go 100% alongside Apollo. Well, maybe that's not the case anymore.
Look, I mean, only 2K down in 14 minutes. That's not
true.
bad. Sure, our mid laner's down 2 levels. That's a bit tough, but all you need is for Ven to get the shutdown kill on Paul, and he's cooking with gas. You know, he's right back in it. Not over quite yet, but it's not looking good for the Scotty, I'd say.
That's true. I mean, there's a couple of power spikes coming online. Veneno just got his Transcendence capped out now, so gets a bit of cooldown reduction for that. Meanwhile, Barracuda managed to get, well, nearly enough his Devour's Gauntlets online, but also picked up his usual shield. He's going so much more of this year as Jake in the mid lane meets a wall. And it wasn't one he placed down this time round. Instead, it was one from Neil Marr. Nice little use of the Odin Ring.
Man, I was really hoping to see... Look, Jake on the Naja, that's definitely a comfort pick. You know, that's Chill's territory for sure. But, like, where was the Scylla support? That's what I wanted to see from him. That's an iconic ranked pick for Jake. Where's the Chernobog support? Oh, or Neil Marr, the Hachimon support. That could have been good, too. We kind of missed out.
I wasn't sure if Lasbury was trying to steal that kill then on Zap, or whether or he was trying to attempt to give it to Veneno. I'm a bit confused by that, but that was Zap's first death on the left-hand side, because PK are now grouping up on the right to punish poor old Sobek Variety, and Paul will use the ultimate very, very well there, just to give chase and stay in range of the rolling away Rama. Beautiful execution.
We just got to ride the wave, you know. Sobek's got some good mobility. Why not catch up to it? It was a really good auto attack, actually, that made the difference there because that kept Variety in combat to make sure he couldn't blink away. That was that was the biggest key there for Paul.
Well, now that means the tier 1 tower on the left's going to fall because Zap is still currently dead after that gank on the left. And that tier 1 tower falls and the red buff is stripped away in the jungle. Given over to Awesome Jake on this Naja, who has gone for a pretty tanky build this game round. Obviously, it looks like he's going for the Shillelagh up next. Well, he's already got the Shillelagh, I should say. Should be Sledge next on the list. See how that works out. As Frostbound Hammer for Scary D. Something we've seen a little bit more of in these hammers this year.
Can you explain to me where the word Shillelagh comes from? Like what?
No.
Okay. All right. I figured I'd ask. Just a little bit closer to your neck of the woods, but
I know I'm an intelligent dude, but I don't know everything in the world. If I'm honest, like I just don't.
I want to make it really clear that I wasn't asking you because of how smart you may or may not be. It's because you grew up geographically closer to where the word Shillelagh comes from. That's all that I really cared about.
Okay, cool. Why is a taco called a taco? Because, like, relative to where you come from, you should know more than me.
Agreed. And here's where the word taco comes from. Taco comes from... I don't know. I was thinking about Googling it, but I thought that was cheating, and I really thought
I was actually be really impressed then for a second, because I thought you were actually going to tell me, and I was like, wow, Aggro knows something.
Well, I didn't think you really wanted to know. If you really want to know where the word taco comes from, of course, it's got... Dude, when you Google taco, Taco Bell is all that comes up. What is that? I want the definition.
Well, Jake in mid lane there eats another ring, and that's all Odin's been doing all day. But now Variety in action again on the Sobek. One of his signatures is now bravely running away back to the tier 2 tower as PK start to group up his 5 in the mid lane. Already a ton of kills in this one, but it's Paul kind of leading the front line on this Hebo at 11 kill involvement, and has just picked up a soul gem for his first bit, well, second bit of cooldown.
Gonna have a lot of damage though with that soul gem, and there's actually a really cool interaction between Rod of Tahuti and soul gem where we talk about it with Aphrodite a lot. That's why Rod is really good. Good try, but not quite enough. I think these guys should be out. With soul gem healing, if you are under the 50% threshold for Rod, I'm pretty sure you get a bigger heal from soul gem.
Yeah, because Tahuti, right?
Yeah, elsewhere. So that's why the Rod Soul Gem combo does work really well. I still think that Flat Pen is really good, and maybe we should be building it a little bit more, but on a character like Hebo that just has good base damage, low cooldowns, just stacking power does make sense.
Wouldn't Bancrofts be better there then if you wanted the sustain factor of that?
No, because Bancrofts does not interact the same way that Soul Gem does. Soul Gem is a heal proc that is different than ability lifesteal.
Fury going down slowly but surely. The snipes came through from Zapman, but it won't be enough to secure, and his Renegades get hold. Paul blinks out to the left-hand side, very scared there, as now the pressure's on Lasbury from Scary D, who'll get his 4th kill of the game so far. The chase is now on through the jungle from PK, the rollout through towards Variety. Lurking in the waters will only keep you alive for so long, and Paul gets credit for the kill. And over to the FG goes PK.
Still 3 members of Renegades up, and they're coming out of base with ultimates and pretty healthy. I don't think this Fire Giant is necessarily a slam dunk for PK. They do have Odin Cage. Maybe Neil is just going to use it as a zoning tool.
Come on, Barra. This is the moment he's been waiting for, to steal it away. Get on Barra Cam. I want to see the smile when he steals it. Won't happen this time round. What's his face say? They used everything on me. That's what it says. Odin ring down.
I didn't know they still had. They still have Hebo knockup. That's what I like to do. Whenever I wanted.
They still had wet paper. What?
Yeah,
That's
what?
crazy.
How did that
still
happen?
had an arrow in his inventory. Take two on the right-hand side, now being looked at by PK. Neilmar, though, going to continue to try and farm up some mid lane as Cubo gets aggressive, but it's good old Jake to the rescue to peel for his carries. He may get punished on the backside, but the support duty's done, and Venenu still dies anyway. A classic case of the support doing his job, and the mid laner failing again. On to the Phoenix we go. Zapman with a celebration ultimate to try and steal the kill away from Scary's knee, but that won't happen. Scary waited to make sure Lasbro will at least return and back around as Variety respawns again, lurks in the water a second time and dies to Paul a second time.
The Renegades conveyor belt is working as advertised. They are pumping out production right now. Just player after player after player goes straight into PK's teeth. And PK end up losing one, and it's Scary, who was absolutely owning up until that point. What, 7-0 or something like that before that death, but still got his value. Made sure he got the kill, 7-1, now 7-2. Got the kill underneath the mid-Phoenix, and PK broke the base at the very least.
Still can't believe we're 2 weeks away now from the SPL playoffs, where the top 6 teams of the league, which do involve Renegades and PK, will take part to work out who's going to qualify directly to the World Championship later stages here. And honestly, it's going to be an interesting one of the playoffs, because the team that wins the playoffs goes automatically, and the one with the most points through the year from the playoffs will join them in second place. I'm interested who they're going to be.
I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, Ghost is obviously near the top. By the way, I've been looking up how the etymology of the word taco. And the etymologies for the culinary usage of the word are generally theoretical, which is just a fancy Wikipedia way of saying,
cool.
Nobody knows. We don't know.
Sure.
It just kind of everyone just started saying it.
So you know, I looked up Shillelagh. It said the same thing. So we're on the same boat. You know.
I don't believe you. I'm going to look it up myself.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see you do some research for a change. It's been a few years. Glad that worked out for you. Left-hand side, though, PK with Firegiant and 4 members now starting to take down the final towers remaining to get them towards that Titan and taking their final set of Season 7 away from the grasp of Renegades. Renegades, though, looks like they're going to start to mount a bit of a defense on this left-hand side. We'll see how this one plays out.
Good cage coming from Neilmar, and it looks like a Phantom may have come through. Oh no, that was just a bunch of shells overlaid on top of one another. Who would get a Phantom for poor little Barracuda? Certainly not awesome, Jake.
And now the action's still going on as the Tide from Paul will reposition him back to safety and help to secure another kill for the boys in black and yellow. Sashing from Jake just because he can. Will set Variety up for the kill, but cost Jake his life. Bird bomb through, tail whipped away. Tier 2 still to fall.
Without Zapman, this does make this siege a lot harder for the Pittsburgh Knights. They've got a big fire wave coming down the right-hand side to help them out, but it's going to take them a little bit longer than it normally would.
Well, we saw what PK did yesterday of farming the fountain, so I'm not sure. Was that Friday? I mean, they farmed the fountain for a while. Do you reckon they do it this game?
Well, let's see.
Would you
got
stat pad in the fountain in this game? That's the question.
Yeah, 100%. Is it a day that ends in Y? And am I guaranteed to win? If so, then yeah, I'm stat padding if I can, no doubt about it. Are you not?
Don't all days end in Y?
Yes, that's the bit. I'm always doing it. Hinduman, you're telling me you're in Assault, you've kited the Titan, you know, you've moved around the edge of the Titan room, so you're not taking any Titan damage. You're not waiting for someone to respawn to try and insta-kill them?
For the most part as a support, what you're trying to do is pull someone out of the fountain and still live when you take the damage from it. That's the game plan. And if you live, you're winning. You know, then you get to do it again. Talking about doing it again, another Fury is going to go down Primal this time round. That's going to really help out with this next Fire Giant that's about to spawn. Because did you know, when you get a Primal Fury, it increases your damage to neutral objectives?
Really? By how much?
Yeah. 1%.
Is that percent high or low?
Pretty good.
Would you say it's around 7%?
Give or take. per one you get as well.
I love the number 7.
Do you? Why?
Because that's the percentage that Primal Fury gives me.
Oh, I just said that. Anyway, Fire Giant has spawned. I did, I just said that.
You really, I mean, you just didn't. I can't even yes and this bit. You objectively did not say it.
Can confirm that, like I said, it was a percent. And 7 was the number, right?
Yeah,
what's going on here? Variety going on here. He's going to get away again. All the snipes! Zapman ring true! It's not going to be enough even when he gets it. And meanwhile, on the backside, Scary he tries to ult on Veneno. Veneno laughs in his face and takes the life of the solo laner from PK. But what of the Titan? What of the Titan? The minions are heading in to the throne room, and Renegades aren't paying enough attention right now. Oh, Veneno's backflip into the beads combo, the 1-2 into the knockup of the Aegis to avoid the water hands, but you can't avoid the Zapman triple to end this season.
Oh, and he's getting Thorns down.
Oh, he's so
you know Zap just hates
Where's his player cam? I want to see that already. He's already tilted and crying. He's on Twitter now, whining about it again. As still the fight goes on this right-hand side. Variety thinks he can take on these 2 members with low health, but they want a Phoenix.
Yeah, you can't really take... Yeah, look, that's Zap's face, all right. Like, what am I supposed to do about Thorns?
These Thorns,
position.
I
Listen,
don't know, man.
ADCs... Thorns is something, but I can feel for him at the very least. Normally I'm against the ADCs, but on this one I'm with him.
Listen, Nemean's already gone, right? Like, come on, give Thorns a break. Let's be honest.
I don't think I will.
If
we're being honest here, Hindu Man, I think I'm willing to expose you that there is indeed an etymology for the word shillelagh. It's a corruption of the Irish or Gaelic form sail Ellie. Well, I don't know. It's probably pronounced very differently than that.
Oh, so you're trying to be smart, but you couldn't say it right, is what you were just doing?
No, I have no idea how to pronounce anything Gaelic.
Okay.
Where sail means willow or cudgel, and LA is genitive for ial, meaning strap, leash, or string. So there you go.
Fantastic. That's the first thing we've ever learned on a Smite broadcast since the beginning of the game. At least
Happy to have helped.
Yeah, I do always wonder where they make up the names from for the most part, but I do like the word shillelagh. I think it's a good choice from the Smite devs there. Some of them, not so much, you know? Some of them, I'm not a huge fan of in terms of some of their selections, but shillelagh is good. Sludge is good too.
What about the Crusher, or the Execute? Well, I guess it's just Crusher, or the Execution.
Does it really crush? I mean, it does a dot, right? Like, that's what I don't get, right? Why would you call it a crusher? It doesn't crush anymore.
It's power,
right?
flat pen, OP passive.
Why don't we call it the Bleeder? You know, because that's what it does. It bleeds you. The Bleeder. Imagine casting that. Oh,
how do you spell? Like, I can spell bleeder, but I can't spell bleeder. I just can't spell.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's the accent. It's just the power of it for the most part. FGE gonna go the way of PK. Cubo will not get to have that around his waist, and Zap laughs about it on his camera. Mara's still pretty seriously upset, though, that Scardy's about to lose here. 0-6-4. I think it kind of just normalizes the stat line for the ADC role this phase.
Well, look, if he had won every game on Scotty going into playoffs, then every team's going to start banning Scotty. They're going to be worried about the Scotty going into picks.
But that means Jake doesn't get banned out, right? So
no, we're talking like second phase. You know, you're top picking for Jake. Lasbra's going to get one of his gods. You're gonna snag something for Variety top 3. Then Barra's getting ready to counter pick. He really wanted the Scotty this game, and then the teams start banning it because he was owning with it right before playoffs. This way, no way it gets banned.
Well, this is an interesting ult in the mid lane, on towards a full health tank that's an Odin, but it's going into the whole squad of Renegades. And the ring is now dropped down, and finally Neil will fall as Barracuda is forced to ult. That was 2 ultimates, 3 ultimates used there, I feel like. No, just the 2 to make sure they get hold of Neil. But that's the danger, man. That's the Odin. You can see Neil smiling about it, because as you said, he absorbed all those abilities.
And that's his job. I mean, they use that much. Let's win a fight here, fellas. But now you're taking another 40 seconds off this Fire Giant for PK. They were a little bit too split up. Can't really take advantage of the fact that Renegades dumped that much into the support. And Renegades are able to extend it a little bit longer.
Well, another 7% could be on the cards here for PK as they turn their attention to Primal Fury. But Lasbra says no! Access denied to that bonus damage. But with Jake jumping in, trying to secure himself, He's given himself an awkward spot to be in. He was still wanting to scrap with Zap, but Zap was just too long in the air, and a kill the way of PK.
I was gonna ask what Paul had to do later today that he's working this hard. I mean, goodness, the man's a 10-0 and 12 right now, but knowing Paul, he probably just like wants to go back to sleep or something like that. The Paul sleep schedule has become a bit notorious, I would say.
Oh, has it? How so?
Oh yeah.
Tell me more.
It's just not good, you know. Like sleep, there's not that much to say about a sleep schedule. It's either good or it isn't. And from what I've heard, Paul's sleep schedule, not good.
Well, right now, PK are on schedule to take at least one Phoenix, maybe even two, with how they're positioned. 3 members in mid lane, and the carries on the left-hand side alone, interestingly enough. It's not often you see the carries left alone, but in the final set for them of the year, this could be the reason. Scary D will get that middle Phoenix down and run away to live again, but then it might be a different story as he auto-attacks into Cuvo's shield there and sustain Cuvo back up. Barracuda, left alone on the left-hand side, makes Paul immortal as the kill of Cuvo Fred goes down onto Awesome Jake to give him second of the game. There's only one Phoenix standing now at 30 minutes in.
Not going to be standing for long with its HP bar looking that way. Jake in trouble, trying to use that sash as a way out, but ends up having to use the ultimate anyways.
They're all just trying to kill Zap, and PK won't let that happen this time round. Minions into the throne room, and this just could be the game, Ryan.
Should be. Titan down to 15%, and PK looking like they're going to finish their regular season here in Season 7 with a clean 2-1 victory over the Renegades.
Oh, I thought they might wait for a cheeky Barra kill there at the end, but not to be the case. 38 kills, though, for Pittsburgh Knights, and that'll settle the end of the season for Renegades and Pittsburgh Knights as well. Obviously, that was going to be fun between those two guys, but honestly, when you turn their attention now towards placements, Ryan, do you really think both these teams have a shot at stealing away that #1 spot and getting themselves through?
PK has shown that they can beat the top two, which is something that not every team that's going has shown a capability to do, so I think that those teams should be very wary of what Pittsburgh Knights are going to be doing. Renegades still have to show me a little bit more. I think that they've got to be able to come up with some sort of strategy that's unique to them, maybe a new start or something like that, some new gods they can bring to the table, because they've shown that they can beat teams like Ghost and Space Station in the past. Sure. It's just that inconsistency that I think everyone is worried about with them.
What are all the pocket picks that people are hiding? We'll get to see that in the playoffs, but that's it for this set. We've still got one more to go, though, to close out the week, and it's a United involved versus Space Station. After the break, we'll bring you all that action.
welcome back to the SPL, where we just got through wrapping up set 1. It was close, but eventually we were able to find a way to get this one done. And Gore, I was worried coming into this set, despite how good I liked E-United's draft, that you just can't let Paul pop off on one of his signature picks. That's exactly what we saw here. He had a monster game to close this one out. And I know that we're in some sets that don't have that much implication. They're not going to change the things that are going to be going here on the playoffs and everything else, but I think he showed up here and was ready to put this one to bed.
I mean, you know, it's one of those things, we say it doesn't have a lot of implications, but honestly, now, if I'm playing the Knights in playoffs, that was a fresh reminder as to why you need to ban Hebo versus the Knights, right? I mean, it's been a while since we really got to say just straight up Paul diff, like, yeah, Scary D looks good, Cuvo looks good, Zap looks good, and Neil has a lot of good setup. But when you're 13-0 and 14, when you are a part of 27 kills and you don't die once, it is impossible for it to not be centered all on you. And I think realistically, this is a good showcase for maybe how you draft against the Knights, or maybe how you don't draft against the Knights is the better way to describe it. I think going into playoffs, that's a hot reminder that Paul was target banned for a long time this phase for a reason, and that he's going to continue to get target banned, well, I would guess for the foreseeable year, for a reason. It's just he's such a menace on so many of these picks that you really do have to control what he plays on, because you give him this Persephone, you give him the Hebo, he's going to just make you rethink playing Smite.
He absolutely is, man. The least damage taken in the game too there, Gore, and I think that is borderline inexcusable, right? I mean, he's got to be the focus in some of these fights, and I know Neomaz cages are so potent, right? And Scary D, Freeman, and Amaterasu should certainly still be picked up, but I think you've got to find a way, if you're not going to ban this Hebo away from Paul, to get to it, right? 13,000 damage is what he took in 31 minutes. It's just not anywhere near enough. And I can't be too hard on any of these teams. As I said, this is not as if they're in some big elimination game and you got to come in completely dialed in, but clearly they hadn't touched the dial at all in this very last one, and Paul was able to get this one done. Now, we want to make sure we give some credit over to the winners here, obviously PK, and to the guy who orchestrated all there for them. Chuckles, the coach here, is ready for the interview.
Thank you, Finch. That's right. I've got no other than the man Chuck joining us here on the broadcast. Chuck, congratulations on the key win here today. I want to start there. I mean, obviously not a huge set for you guys. You're already locked in on your seeding. Same could be said for Renegades. It's a little bit harder to get the boys up and ready to go. Looks like Steve took a little bit to wake up there in game 1.
Yeah, boy. I mean, sometimes it's just one of those days. I think he might have almost forgot to set his alarm, so we didn't start off very well. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the clock and it's 6 minutes and he's died 6 times, it's never going to be a fun experience. But glad he turned it around a bit.
Exactly. Like I said on the broadcast, man, I mean, it used to be Zap hits 10 deaths, he's instantly activated, he's getting a little bit older these days. It just took him an extra game, and he activated in games 2 and 3 of this set. Obviously want to look a little bit more forward, though, look towards Phase 2 playoffs, which you guys will be playing in just 2 weeks. Do you feel like you guys are in the right headspace, hitting your stride at the right time? You've gotten red hot towards the end of Phase 2, and then started to cool off a little bit, but do you and your team feel like you're in the right spot heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely had a really nice win streak for a little bit there. Like you said, we did start to cool off a bit. We had a few, interruptions to practice that meant that we weren't, fully able to hone in on what we need to, and started slipping a bit there. But I mean, we've proven that we can take any team. I feel so. We're definitely pretty confident heading into this.
How much do you expect the meta to change between the end of the regular season phase and at actual playoffs? Is there enough time in 2 weeks for a new meta to develop?
New meta? Probably not. I mean, it depends a lot on this new patch, I guess. There's definitely a few changes that are gonna impact things. I wouldn't say a whole new meta, but you might see, new picks, certain picks come in and out. So we'll definitely see. The biggest change is definitely going to be between playoffs and worlds, because that's a lot of time in between that. So
A lot of time to get new things working and under wraps there. Chuck, congratulations on a great regular season. You've made it to the end of phase number 2, just playoffs and worlds to go for you guys. Good luck in the playoffs, man. Looking forward to seeing you play.
Thank you very much.